Pirate, my Conquerors is 100 million points strong. A massive pirate ship rides the rough seas, its sails billowing under a black flag marked with a crescent-shaped, white-bearded skull. This is the legendary Moby Dick, the flagship of the world's most powerful pirate group, the Whitebeard Pirates. On the deck, the elite captains of the crew gather, murmuring in hushed tones. The atmosphere feels heavy and tense. At the center of it all stands Marco, captain of the First Division, his gaze locked on the usually optimistic but now grim-faced Whitebeard. Marco breaks the uneasy silence, a flicker of confusion crossing his face. "Dad, what could possibly make you this serious?" The other captains turn their attention to Whitebeard, sharing Marco's concern. Since the death of their old rival, Gold Roger, the Whitebeard pirates have rarely been summoned together like this. This sudden assembly gives them all a foreboding sense that something terrible is brewing. Whitebeard, sighing deeply, slowly reveals the grim news. Ace has gone missing recently. This morning, we finally confirmed his whereabouts. He pauses before continuing, his voice heavy. Ace lost to Blackbeard. And that traitor handed him over to the Marines. The moment the words leave his lips, outrage erupts across the deck. What? Not just Thatch, now even Ace is in Blackbeard's hands. Teach is a disgrace. How dare he betray us and ally with the Marines? He broke our iron law. He must pay for this with his life. Let me go, Dad. I'll end that bastard myself. I'll come too. That traitor's time is up. Their eyes burn with cold fury, every captain eager to hunt down the traitor. But Whitebeard raises his hand, his stern gaze quieting the storm of voices. Clenching his fists, he speaks with a voice that rumbles like distant thunder. Teach is more dangerous than you think. If any of you go alone, you may meet the same fate as Ace. He glances around the deck, his gaze firm. Even if one of you manages to defeat Teach, what's to stop the Marines from capturing you afterward? The captains fall silent, frustration simmering beneath their determined expressions. Marco clenches his jaw, losing both Ace and Thatch is a wound too deep to bear. Revenge is a necessity. Dad, Marco steps forward, his voice edged with determination. Let me take Teach down. I won't fail. Whitebeard places a heavy hand on Marco's shoulder, a small but knowing smile tugging at his lips. Marco, I know you're strong. But, someone else on this ship is even better suited for this task. The captains exchange puzzled glances. Who could Whitebeard be talking about? Other than their father himself, who could possibly surpass Marco in strength? Whitebeard's expression shifts from serious to sly, a glimmer of pride flickering in his eyes. Have you forgotten? We still have the captain of Division 0 on board. Captain 0. At the mention of this elusive name, recognition dawns on the captains. The mysterious Yu, a name often whispered but never seen. Known as the captain of Division 0, Yu has spent years hidden away, practicing in a restricted area under Whitebeard's protection. It was rumored that he never left unless absolutely necessary. Suddenly, it all makes sense, the reason Whitebeard sailed out early this morning. He had gone to summon the enigmatic captain. The captains, intrigued and eager, chatter amongst themselves. I bet Yu is an old man, probably around Dad's age. Yeah, someone stronger than Marco must be as seasoned as Rayleigh, right? Decades of training would be a must. He's been holed up in the restricted zone for years. Maybe he's even stronger than Dad by now. Ha! As the captains speculate, the door to Whitebeard's quarters creaks open, and a figure emerges. The man who steps out is nothing like they imagined. Barely 20 years old, he looks more like a laid-back teenager than a fearsome warrior. Dressed in a loose t-shirt and flip-flops, Yu munches on a hamburger and sips from a Coke as he surveys the gathered captains with casual indifference. Seriously, old man, Yu mutters to himself, I warned you about Teach. But no, you trust your sons too much. He sighs, feeling the weight of inevitability. Now I have to step in. The captains stare in disbelief. What the? So young. He doesn't look like a fighter at all. Dad, are you sure this guy is our Division 0 captain? Yi Yu notices their skeptical expressions but says nothing, lost in thought for a moment. 10 years ago, Yi Yu had arrived in this world as a time traveler. Awakened with the Overlord system, he gained extraordinary abilities by completing missions and signing in daily. His first encounter with Whitebeard, years ago, was a battle of Conqueror's hockey that ended in a draw, an impressive feat for a child. Whitebeard, recognizing Yi Yu's potential, offered him an irresistible deal, a peaceful life of training in exchange for his assistance in times of crisis. Whitebeard provided him with land, food, wine, entertainment, everything Yi Yu could ask for. Yi Yu took the offer, not to train rigorously but to enjoy life to the fullest. In truth, Yi Yu hardly practiced. He spent the last decade gaming, fishing, and enjoying the breeze. Yet, thanks to the system, his Conqueror's hockey grew stronger every day. By simply signing in daily, he accumulated 3,650 points over 10 years, plus 1,000 points from his starter bonus. With 4,650 points, his hockey was on an entirely different level, surpassing most others effortlessly. Unlike other hockey users, Yi Yu's Conquerors was versatile, capable of both offense and defense. He didn't need to rely on physical moves, he could manipulate his hockey purely through imagination, making it far more dangerous. Lost in thought, Yi Yu snaps back to reality as the captains continue to question Whitebeard's judgment. Dad, are you really sending him to deal with Teach? Diamond Jaws asks, his tone filled with doubt. Don't tell me this kid is supposed to beat Blackbeard, Bista mutters, shaking his head. This must be a joke, Marco says with a half-smile. There's no way this guy is the powerhouse you've been talking about. The other captains murmur their agreement, clearly unimpressed. To them, Yi Yu looks like anything but a warrior, more like a slacker coasting on his title. Yi Yu chuckles softly, realizing they have no idea what he's capable of. Whitebeard places a hand on Yi Yu's shoulder, a mischievous twinkle in his eye. Yi Yu, they won't believe it unless you show them. How about giving them a little demonstration? Yi Yu rolls his eyes, knowing full well that Whitebeard has been itching to see his abilities in action. Fine, fine, Yi Yu says with a sigh, taking another bite of his burger. I guess it's time to remind everyone what true strength looks like. The captains watch with bated breath, eager, and slightly nervous, to see what the mysterious captain of Division 0 is truly capable of. You don't have to do anything, just leave this kid to me. Buffalo Atmos slowly stood up. With a huge body, a suit of armor, and holding two swords, he was looking down at Yi Yu in front of him. Although Yi Yu is not short in height, he still looks very small under the huge body of the Buffalo Atmos. At this time, the pirates on the Moby Dick also noticed something unusual here. Some people with smart ears already have a rough idea of the situation on Yi Yu's side. Everyone focused their attention on Yi Yu and started talking about it. Have you seen that boy? He is the captain of Division 0 that Dad always talks about. What? This is Captain 0? Why does he look so weak? This boy, I don't know what kind of sweet words he used to deceive the captain, and he has been serving him delicious food and drinks for 10 years. Brothers, you think, if I defeat this kid, can I also be the captain? Ha ha ha. Isn't Captain Atmos going to challenge this kid? This time, I'm afraid the secret will be exposed. Yi Yu became the focus of the entire ship, and the pirates kept laughing. Everyone was looking forward to Yi Yu making a fool of himself. In the world of pirates, the strong are respected. Everyone speaks based on their strength. I have never heard of anyone who has a higher position and listens to whoever has a higher position. The position of captain is not based on age, but mainly on strength. If you have the strength, like Ace, you can become the captain of the second team at a young age. If you don't have the strength, sorry, get out as soon as possible, otherwise someone will replace you sooner or later. Everyone is not optimistic about Yi Yu, they just feel that Yi Yu is a salty fish pirate with zero combat power. How can such a person be their Zero Division captain? Looking at the huge buffalo Atmos, Yi Yu drank all the coke in his hand and stuffed the last chicken drumstick burger into his mouth. Yi Yu burped and looked up and down at the buffalo Atmos in front of him. I said, Buffalo, you are too weak. Even if I defeat you, it doesn't prove that I am the strongest among the captains. Yi Yu said with a half smile. As soon as these words came out, the situation exploded again. There were more and more pirates around, whispering to each other. This kid is quite crazy. What's the use of being crazy? If you don't have the strength to be crazy, isn't it just a way of seeking death? Yes, if you light the powder keg of Buffalo Atmos, you won't get anything good from Yi Yu. I bet that this kid will definitely lose. The gangsters around him even started betting, and Yi Yu's odds actually reached 1,000 times. Obviously, everyone is not optimistic about Yi Yu. Marco squinted his eyes and looked at Yi Yu, while at the same time turning on his knowledge to the extreme. Diamond Josie and Foil Bista also looked up and down Yi Yu. However, what disappointed them was that they could not feel a trace of strong spirit from Yi Yu. After Buffalo Atmos heard Yi Yu's arrogant words, he was extremely angry. How dare a 20-year-old young man doubt his own strength? This is a naked insult to myself. Boy, aren't you scared? If you are afraid, voluntarily resign as captain of the Zero Division, and you can still get our protection on our Whitebeard pirates. Otherwise. Buffalo Atmos wiped the sword in his hand and said fiercely. This is really troublesome. Yi Yu felt that her head was very big. Originally, he planned to crush the powerful captains like Marco, Josie, and Foil Bista to prove his strength. But who knew that Marco and the others had no intention of fighting him? Yi Yu shook his head. Atmos, Captain Zero has the privilege of being in the restricted area. There is no way I will give it up. Atmos, after hearing this, showed an expression that looked like an idiot. How long has it been since he was still thinking about his privilege of eating and drinking for free? Boy, suffer death. After saying that, without hesitation, Atmos directly took his big knife and slashed at Yi Yu. The force of this sword was so strong that the surrounding air became violent. A flash of light suddenly flashed in Marco's eyes. This idiot Atmos, please don't kill this kid. Even if he is a liar, he will not die. Just as he was thinking about flying over and blocking the fatal blow with blue flames, Marco's expression became extremely weird the next moment. Josie and Bista on the side also opened their mouths wide, as if they had seen some strange scene. The minions around him looked shocked, their eyes widened, and they were swallowing their saliva crazily. The Whitebeard pirates, who were quite lively just now, became extremely quiet now. Because the scene in front of them was too incredible for them. The captain of the 13th team of the Whitebeard pirates, Buffalo Atmos, actually knelt on one leg in front of Yi Yu. At this time, before the Buffalo Atmos could react, he felt a buzzing sound in his ears, and waves of dizziness and nausea kept coming. The strong sense of oppression made him unable to breathe, and the two knives in his hand swayed and fell to the ground. At this time, all the strength of Atmos was used to resist falling to the ground. The fear from the deepest part of his soul was completely aroused. Cold sweat broke out on Atmos's forehead and back. Under the strong oppression, he finally knelt on the ground with both legs. With such a huge body, he felt like a child in front of Yi Yu. And Yi Yu's figure gradually grew taller, like an insurmountable mountain in front of him. What's the situation? Is it the fruit ability? No. This feeling is more like Conquerors. Buffalo Atmos, his eyes widened, finally figured out the reason. It's just, if it was really Conquerors, it would be so scary. As the captain, he would be suppressed by conquerors. The little guys around who were watching the excitement were not having a good time either. Because of Yu's conquerors, a large area has fallen down. This is just because Yu mobilized conquerors and accidentally splashed out a little bit. If you release your conquerors in all directions, I'm afraid these little minions will all fall to the ground. Marco, Diamond Josie, and Foil Bista all opened their eyes wide. You look at me, I look at you. After being confused for a while, Marco finally swallowed hard and spoke excitedly. This is Conquerors. Legend has it that only 1 in a million people will appear. Conquerors. Foil Bista's lips trembled and she murmured, yes, it's Conquerors. What's even more terrifying is that this is the Conquerors that can suppress the Buffalo Atmos. From this point of view, Yu's Conquerors is already above Dad. No. You could even say, above Redheads. After Foil Bista finished speaking, the expressions of everyone in Marco became even more exaggerated. They all looked at Whitebeard. Dad, this is bringing a monster to the Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard showed a satisfied smile. Gulala, kids, I've told you a long time ago that Captain Zero is a strong man, but you just don't listen. Whitebeard said proudly, showing off a bit. This time, the people of the Whitebeard pirates did not object. Even Shanks, who is currently recognized as having the strongest conquerors, cannot do it. He can suppress the captain of the Whitebeard pirates just by relying on conquerors. Etc. Everyone's expressions became exaggerated again. That is to say, this guy Yu, his strength has surpassed you, Dad. Marco said in surprise, his eyes widening. Everyone reacted and looked at Whitebeard curiously. Goo-la-la-la you guys. Whitebeard's generous laughter came again. I don't know about this. 10 years ago, Yu was as conquerors as I am. But he didn't know how to be armed or knowledgeable. Whitebeard said truthfully. However, I don't know what Yu has become in seclusion for the past 10 years. It's up to Yu to answer. The topic changed, and Whitebeard's eyes suddenly became serious. 10 years of growth. Everyone looked at Yu aside, eager to know how far Yu had grown in 10 years. On the other side, Yu put away the conquerors, Buffalo Atmos, that he had released, and slowly stood up. As the only Buffalo Atmos who had ever fought against Yu, he had deeply felt Yu's strength just now. Atmos, who had a huge body, lowered his head. You are very strong, Yu, I completely failed in this battle. Until now, although Yu has stopped his conqueror's suppression, Atmos still feels lingering fear in his heart. The fear from the deepest part of his soul still lingers in his heart. Yu waved his hand. Your strength is not bad, Atmos. If your strength were a little stronger, I wouldn't be able to suppress you just with Conqueror's breath. For those whom he might get along with frequently in the future, Yu still left some face for Atmos. After Atmos left, Yu turned around and aimed at Marco and others. Looking at Marco, Josie, and even Whitebeard, all of them looking at me curiously, I feel like my head is spinning. In the past 10 years, I have been practicing as a hammer. If he said that he just wanted to find a place where no one would disturb him and live his otaku life quietly, would Whitebeard agree to allocate himself a restricted area and serve him in a big villa with good wine and meat every day? You can't tell these guys this kind of thing, otherwise, who can guarantee that these guys won't rush towards you in a swarm to kill you? Apparently, I still have to make it up. Yu's expression suddenly became very serious. In the past 10 years, I have been studying Conqueror's research day and night, getting up early and working late at night. I'm afraid my Conqueror's has reached its peak. Now I don't need any weapons or knowledge anymore. At first glance, it sounds awesome. Whitebeard, Marco and others showed admiration, but after a while, they suddenly felt something was wrong. Nanny? Wait, Yu, do you mean that you still don't know how to be armed and knowledgeable? Marco said with an exaggerated expression. I've already said that there is no need for that kind of thing. A conqueror's is enough. Yi Yu replied indifferently. This made Marco and others collectively silent. Yi Yu, I recognize your position as captain of Division 0, but leave the matter of killing Blackbeard to me. Yi Yu, although you are very strong, Blackbeard is by no means an easy person. Even the red-haired Shanks suffered a loss at his hands. If you don't know how to arm yourself and see what you know, you will probably be tricked by him. Marco said solemnly. Marco's analysis was correct. Blackbeard is a man of great power and his strength is not weak. No matter how powerful Yi Yu Conquerors is, it's impossible to directly suppress a character like Blackbeard. If you don't know how to see and hear, it's still acceptable. If you don't know how to arm, how can you cause harm to Blackbeard? However, how could Yi Yu not think of this? How could the system fail to take it into consideration? In fact, Yi Yu had already obtained a bug skill in the system when Conquerors reached 3,000 points. That is Yi Yu's Conquerors, which is powerful enough to cause actual physical damage, and what's even more terrifying is that it can also capture Logia's entity. Hey, when did you Whitebeard pirates become such a mother-in-law? Yi Yu, who had always been troublesome, had no intention of explaining his abilities to everyone present. Yi Yu directly left the Whitebeard pirates with their backs and waved his hands. Just wait, I can hand over Blackbeard's head to you in less than 3 days. After saying that, Yi Yu strode away. As he was walking, a blue flame suddenly appeared in the sky, blocking Yi Yu's face in an instant. Yi Yu raised his head slightly. Isn't this Marco, known as the Phoenix? I'm sorry, Yi Yu, Blackbeard is not an ordinary person. I won't let you go until I see that you can defeat Blackbeard. Marco said worriedly. Diamond Josie, Foil Bista, and even Atmos all nodded in agreement. Yes, Captain Yi Yu of the Zero Division, Marco is doing this for your own good. He is unarmed and it is not easy to kill Blackbeard. This group of people actually recognized Yi Yu's position as the captain of the Zero Division. Whitebeard, on the other hand, looked like he was not too worried about the excitement. He picked up a large bottle of wine and drank it in one gulp. Grr la 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 la. We, the Whitebeard pirates, haven't been this lively for a long time. How about, Marco and Yi Yu, you two also have a try? Whitebeard said with a heavy smile while squinting his eyes. Yi Yu was speechless and rolled his eyes at Whitebeard. As the captain of a ship, he doesn't have the composure of an elder at all. It's really troublesome to have to fight again by myself. I have my word first. After defeating Marco, I will not accept any challenge from anyone else. Yi Yu said helplessly. It's not that I'm afraid. Mainly because of Yi Yu's salty and flat young personality, he had to compete with the captains of the Whitebeard pirates one by one. Such a troublesome thing was even more uncomfortable than killing Yi Yu. Marco, when he heard that Yi Yu wanted to compete with him, he directly clasped his fist at Yi Yu and said, I'm sorry, Captain Zero. Yi Yu still looked indifferent. Hurry up, Marco, I will defeat you. I have to kill Blackbeard quickly. Don't delay me when I come back to watch TV. Goo la 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 la. This kid is really interesting. It seems that he doesn't take Marco seriously at all, Edward Newgate said with a laugh. Quickly defeat Marco, kill Blackbeard, and then watch TV. Ha! Interesting guy. Diamond Josie also looked at Yi Yu with interest. Although Marco looks like a passerby, his strength is unquestionable. Defeating Marco is not an easy task. In the Whitebeard pirates, except Captain Whitebeard, no one dared to talk to Marco like this. Bista, the foil swordsman, also held his swords tightly, with a glimmer of light flashing in his eyes. For a moment, how did I feel that this guy Yi Yu could really defeat Marco? Defeating Marco? Impossible, right? Diamond Josie shook his head. Marco's Phoenix ability is very tricky. His defense is not weaker than Logia's. Without powerful weapons, he can't be hurt at all. Diamond Josie murmured. Ha ha ha, I just feel it. Foil Bista said. The feeling just now was just an irrational state. After being reminded by Diamond Josie, Foil Bista regained his rationality and was still not optimistic about Yu. What do you think? Dad? Diamond Josie left this question to Whitebeard, who was just watching the excitement and was not too concerned about it. As the father who made Yu the captain of the Zero Squadron, he has the most say. Whitebeard narrowed his eyes, the corners of his mouth unconsciously curved, and he spoke slowly. I think the final winner should be Yu. In the past 10 years, who knows how far this perverted Conquerors has grown. Dad actually thinks that the final winner is Yu. His opponent is Marco, who has abnormal resilience. Even the Marine General, Marco, is not afraid of the Phoenix at all. The pirates around him became agitated after hearing Dad's comments. No matter how powerful this brat's Conquerors is, can he really defeat the undead Marco without any weapons or knowledge? The bets surrounding Yu's victory began again. Unlike the first match against Atmos, where Yu's odds were 1,000 times, this time Yu's odds were 10 times. If this guy Yu wins, he will get 10 times the gambling capital. Some people who are chasing excitement chose to bet on Yu to win. However, most people still choose to play it safe. Is it possible for a kid under 20 years old to defeat Atmos and defeat Marco, the strongest member of the Whitebeard Pirates? It's hard. While everyone was still discussing, the battle between Marco and Yu, without any sloppiness, had already begun. With a cry, Marco transformed directly into a blue phantom bird and flew towards Yu. However, before Marco could react, when he was about to launch an attack, Yu had already struck first. There is no way, who knows that Yu's attack method is Conqueror's Hockey, which is several times faster than ordinary attack methods. Just a thought, Yu didn't hide his clumsiness, the Conquerors that had been suppressed before suddenly exploded at this moment, like a flood that broke a bank, running towards the blue phoenix. Whitebeard, Diamond Josie, Bista and others had shocked expressions on their faces. How could this guy Yu burst out with such powerful domineering energy in just a moment? Marco, who was at close range, naturally felt the terror of Yu's Conquerors. However, Marco, who had experienced many battles, quickly adjusted his mentality. It just makes people feel psychologically scared. I am now in the form of blue immortal flames, and this Yu can't hurt me at all. Marco, a large amount of blue flames emerged from his body. It's just, the reality is very skinny. Boom. Conqueror's domineering spirit turned into a huge fist in an instant, and punched Marco away. Marco flew backwards under this powerful energy. Finally, it hit the deck of the Whitebeard Pirates heavily, and a huge human-shaped hole was directly smashed into the entire deck. Diamond Josie, Bista and others opened their mouths with incredible expressions on their faces. The pirates also widened their eyes. The one who flew out just now is the first captain of the most powerful pirate ship in the world. I really didn't expect it. Was he easily beaten away by this guy Yu? The weirdest thing is, how did Yu capture Marco? Marco had obviously turned into an immortal flame. Whitebeard seemed to have thought of something and patted his head hard. I know, this is the highest state of Conqueror's transformation. A Conquerors that can capture Logia devil fruit users. Whitebeard exclaimed. This made the people around him even more shocked, and even felt a bit fanciful. Everyone looked at their captain, Edward Newgate, suspiciously. What are you talking about, Dad? Do Conquerors with armed color attributes really exist in this world? Isn't this a bit too weird? You can't be wrong. This is the top application of Conquerors, an attack method even higher than Conqueror's entanglement. Conqueror's attack method that not even One Piece Roger has mastered. The reason why I know this attack method is because my former Captain Rox was the man who mastered this Conquerors. Whitebeard's eyes sparkled, and he looked at Yu with excitement. Rox? The pirates around him took a breath of cold air. According to Dad, that is the King of Kings more powerful than One Piece. Even the three top powerhouses, Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Kaido, were once just younger brothers under rocks. It is not difficult to deduce how powerful the kid in front of me is. For a brat with such terrifying strength, it is easy to defeat Blackbeard. At the hole in the deck, there was a loud shout, and Marco appeared again, this time directly activating the strongest form of the animal-type ability user, half-animal form. Marco's face was solemn. Although the guy in front of him looked like a harmless young man. However, the strength is terrifyingly powerful. Just now, Marco felt it clearly. Yi Yu's physical attack that turned into a huge fist actually had special effects of armed color. Is it true that someone, under the age of 20, can reach this level? Marco considers himself a genius. At a young age, he became the captain of the most powerful pirate group in the world. He dared to fight even if he faced marine generals. But all of his glory seemed so dim compared to the listless boy in front of him. Yi Yu is the real genius. Unwilling to be reconciled, Marco decided to attack again, wanting to test the gap between himself and the real genius. Yi Yu, although you are very strong, you are incapable of catching my attacks, so how can you deal with me? Marco said solemnly, his eyes locked on Yi Yu. Marco, who turned on the half-beast form, reached the limit in both attack power and speed. Whoosh! A gust of wind blew. Marco, in half-animal form, disappeared directly from the spot. What a fast speed! Josie exclaimed. Yi Yu on the other side still had a calm expression on his face. He was uninformed and did not sense Marco's specific location. It's just, when I reached 4,000 Conqueror's points, the system rewarded me with another bug skill, Conqueror's passive defense. When the system senses that someone will cause harm to Yi Yu, the body will passively mobilize its own Conquerors, covering 360 degrees, forming a Conqueror's protective barrier. This is also one of the important reasons why Yi Yu Xianyu is willing to come out due to his character. Otherwise, the world of pirates would be so dangerous. Even if Yi Yu had the strength of One Piece, he would not come out easily. What's even more powerful is that Yi Yu upgraded this move by reading comics. When Conqueror's protective cover automatically appears, and the enemy is within close range of himself, Yi Yu will instantly release the Conquerors compressed in his own Conqueror's defensive cover, and bounce the enemy back through the repulsion of the explosion. I'm too lazy to name it, so I borrowed the name of a ninjutsu from the Hokage comics, Shinra Tensei. Marco, who transformed into a half-beast form, had blue flames emitting from his body from time to time. The blue flames even promoted Marco's flight. Yi Yu is getting closer and closer, 10 meters, 9 meters, 8 meters. When he was only 1 meter away from Yi Yu, Marco swung his body and kicked to the side, and a huge bird claw burning with blue flames appeared. There is no doubt that with the power of the dive, Marco's blow is fully capable of kicking over a pirate ship. Just after Marco kicked this kick, something strange happened again. Before Marco's kick touched Yi Yu, it felt like he had kicked something on a rock and was unable to move forward. Phoenix Marco's face was full of confusion. What the hell, what happened? Devil fruit power? Marco's own inertia also completely stopped. A strong pain came from his feet, causing Marco to lie on the ground and transform into a human form. He held his feet with both hands and exclaimed that it hurt. The entire Whitebeard pirates fell into an atmosphere of silence. Including Captain Edward Newgate, everyone couldn't believe their eyes, swallowing their saliva, watching such a dramatic scene. After a long time, Foil Bista spoke. How did this guy do it? Does he have devil fruit powers? Bista said with trembling lips. I heard Kazuki Oden talk about this ability before. This should be a barrier fruit, right? Diamond Josie guessed. No. This should be Conquerors. Captain Edward Newgate said seriously. I once heard rocks say that Conquerors is in this state. Conquerors directly covers the whole body, forming a Conqueror's barrier. At the beginning, Rocks dreamed of reaching this level of controlling Conquerors at will, but he never reached this level until his death. Whitebeard's eyes became more and more serious. Hereby. After hearing Whitebeard's explanation, the surrounding pirates were completely convinced from the bottom of their hearts. The kids Conquerors in front of me actually surpassed the rocks of One Piece. What kind of concept is this? Needless to say, the original rocks almost destroyed the entire world. In the end, it was only with the cooperation of Whitebeard, Roger, Garp and many other extremely powerful men that they managed to defeat rocks. And, Yi Yu, who is less than 20 years old, actually surpassed rocks in Conquerors. From this point of view, Yi Yu is undoubtedly a monster. Originally, with the methods Yi Yu displayed, it seemed to be very powerful, but everyone still didn't expect that Yi Yu's true strength still exceeded their imagination. On the battlefield, after Marco fell to the ground, Yi Yu mobilized his domineering energy again, transformed into a pair of Buddha's hands, and directly held Marco down. I have long said that my fighting is relatively simple and direct, and I don't need any weapons or knowledge at all. Yi Yu said calmly with a raised face. Marco, now you can feel free to let me kill Blackbeard, right? Originally, when Marco attacked Yi Yu's domineering defense cover, as a combination attack, Yi Yu should have directly released his Shinra Tianjing and rebounded it. But, it hasn't been long since I mastered this skill, and I haven't mastered it yet. If by any chance Marco hadn't been careful and was shocked and fainted, he would have committed a serious crime. Therefore, Yi Yu chose this ordinary attack method of Conqueror suppression. Okay, mad, no more fight, no more fight. You are so awesome, Marco, won't lose unjustly. At this time, Marco also clearly understood the gap between himself and Yi Yu. Even if Marco was killed, he would not want to fight with a pervert like Yi Yu. Now I believe it. You, a guy, don't need any weapons or knowledge at all. Dad, you not only brought a monster to our group, you brought a monster to the whole world. Marco continued to sigh after getting up. Goo la la la. To be honest, I didn't expect that this kid, Conquerors would actually surpass the original rocks. Whitebeard's eyes flashed and he said excitedly. For the Whitebeard pirates, having such a powerful captain of Division 0 is naturally a great thing. Now, Squad 0 Captain Yi Yu, I recognize you. I wish you can win Teach as soon as possible. Diamond Josie said with his fists clasped. Originally, Xiaozi also planned to discuss and learn with Yi Yu, but looking at Marco's feet that were still swollen like bricks, Xiaozi gave up his plan to fight Yi Yu. Bista also truly recognized Yi Yu's strength. Conquerors is more terrifying than rocks. This is the first person in ancient times. I approve of you. I recognize you too. Captain Zero. And me. The captains of the Whitebeard pirates clasped their fists in recognition of Yi Yu. Yi Yu was very satisfied, now no one would bother him to compete with him. It is still necessary to show your strength appropriately. Goodbye, everyone. Yi Yu waved to everyone with white beard and jumped directly onto a small boat. Yi Yu, I haven't had a drink with you yet. I must drink it well when you come back. Yes, I can't beat you in a fight, but I will definitely drink you down. That's right, when you come back from killing Blackbeard, let's have a few drinks. Yi Yu, don't hate my mother-in-law, you still have to be careful when facing Blackbeard. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates said goodbye to Yi Yu one by one. Although they only got along for a very short time, Yi Yu could still feel the sincerity of the Whitebeard pirates. Yi Yu, who was an orphan in her previous life, only felt warm inside. Yi Yu waved his hand while carrying the Whitebeard pirates on his back. I know, you guys are really troublesome. After Yi Yu left, the discussion surrounding Yi Yu continued. Great, With Captain Yi Yu of Division 0 here, our Whitebeard pirates will be even more invincible in this sea. Diamond Josie clenched his fists and said excitedly. Ha! Now Yi Yu is the captain of the 0 division of our Whitebeard pirates. If anyone in the future dares to cause trouble like that blind guy like Kaido, he will be killed directly. Marco also became excited. Said. It's hard to imagine how terrifying it would be for this guy to join the hostile forces if he wasn't discovered by Dad. Foil Bista said seriously. Whitebeard also showed a pleased smile. I hope Yi Yu will be my lucky star and help me win the battle with Marine. Everyone is confused, is the Whitebeard pirates going to war with Marine? Whitebeard looked at everyone and spoke slowly. Young men, based on my understanding of the Warring States period, this insidious guy will definitely publicly execute Ace just like he did to Roger. The day Ace is executed will be the day we fight Marine to the death. At this time, the captains of the Whitebeard pirates completely understood Whitebeard's good intentions. In this critical period, if these captains are allowed to go out to kill Blackbeard, they may really be arrested by Marine again, which will only cause chaos for the Whitebeard pirates. The future battle with Marine is the real reason why Captain Zero came out. So, kids, please don't go out to sea alone during these times. I think it won't be long before Marine announces Ace's execution. On the other side, Yi Yu's boat has already started its own journey and opened its system panel. The 2 battles on the Whitebeard pirates just now actually added 400 Conqueror's attribute points to itself. Yi Yu naturally added it directly. He looked at his attribute points and found that Conquerors had reached 5,050 points. His Conquerors had exceeded 5,000, reaching another level. Ding! Congratulations to host for exceeding 5,000 attribute points. Reward host with 10 consecutive devil fruit draws. This time's reward, is it a devil fruit? Yi Yu murmured. Different from the Conqueror's skills that were rewarded in the past, this is the first time Yi Yu has received a devil fruit reward. Ding, host, do you want to activate the devil fruit 10 continuous draws? Turn on. Following Yi Yu's command, the system directly turned on the big turntable. Devil fruits with various abilities are written on the turntable. These fruits have unique ability systems, regardless of the sea or the number of possessions. Every time the turntable stops, the system's pleasant sound will sound. Ding! Congratulations to host for getting the animal civet cat fruit. Ding! Unfortunately, the prize is empty. Ding! Unfortunately, the prize is empty. Ding! Congratulations to host, you got the Paramecia search fruit. Ding! Congratulations to host for getting the Paramecia shock fruit. Mud, there is still an empty prize, but, overall it is still very good. In the last chance, Yi Yu directly obtained the earthquake fruit known as the strongest Paramecia. After reading the introduction of the fruit's abilities, you can still ignore the sea. Sure enough, the product produced by the system must be excellent. Yi Yu nodded with satisfaction. Not only the shock fruit, Paramecia's search fruit is similar to the gaze fruit. Although it cannot see through people's hearts, it is still no problem to search for individuals. It's also pretty good for me. Thinking of a person's name in my mind, I can actually predict the general direction. For Yi Yu, who is currently trying to find Blackbeard, this is definitely a timely help. Wait! Blackbeard, you will be the first person I kill since I traveled to the pirate world. Yi Yu's face rose slightly. Yi Yu, who has watched the One Piece anime, doesn't have a good impression of Blackbeard, a sinister and cunning villain. As for other fruits, such as the civet cat fruit and the African hyena fruit, Yi Yu simply chose to ignore them. Are you kidding me? The hyena fruit allows me to transform myself into the African second brother and dig out my enemy's anus? I'm not that perverted yet. This fruit is so disgusting. System, can I return it and exchange these devil fruits for money? Yi Yu said angrily to the system. Ding! No returns. However, host can turn these fruits into real devil fruits. Note, after being turned into real devil fruits, the devourer will still be afraid of the sea. This time, Yi Yu finally understood. If you're afraid of the sea, just be afraid of the sea. Anyway, Yi Yu doesn't intend to eat them. They will all turn into real devil fruits and prepare to sell them on the black market. These animal devil fruits are nothing in Yi Yu's eyes, but in the world of pirates, there are many people who sacrifice their lives fighting for devil fruits. These devil fruits are still very popular in the market. Yi Yu is confident that one of them can be worth at least 100 million belly on the black market. On Rabina Island, right between Dressrosa and Big C, Blackbeard was sitting in a stolen villa in the village. One after another, local sexy beauties tremblingly brought food and wine, without even daring to raise their heads. They were facing the most ferocious pirates on the sea, especially this group, who casually killed the strongest local guards. Ha ha ha. A new era is coming soon. The world from now on will be my Blackbeard's world. A slightly obese man with chest hair exposed, holding a large piece of pork in his hand, his mouth full of oil, grinning arrogantly with his gapped teeth. This man's fingers are almost full of valuable rings, and he also has a wine bottle and a pistol on his waist. He is the insidious and cunning Blackbeard in the world of pirates. A tall, muscular man with his upper body exposed, looking exactly like Blackbeard. Wei yai ha 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 ha. Even the second captain of the world's most powerful pirate group is no match for us. Boss Blackbeard, it seems that he is one step closer to his dream. Why ha ha ha. The person who said this was Burgess, the captain of the first ship of the Blackbeard pirates. He was very powerful and was nicknamed Champion Burgess. A guy with pale skin, formal clothes, a huge black top hat on his head, and a cane in his hand said slightly, "Let me tell you, Boss Blackbeard, we just handed Ace over to Marine a few days ago. Will Whitebeard send someone to take revenge on us?" The one who spoke was Lafitte, the intelligence officer of the Blackbeard pirates. After hearing this, Blackbeard frowned slightly, thought for a while, then laughed obscenely with a mouth full of alcohol. Ha ha ha, thief. Lafitte, except for Whitebeard, it will be useless even if Captain Marco comes. Ha ha ha, thief. Blackbeard clenched his fist, and the fist was filled with black smoke. He used the dark fruit he had recently obtained very smoothly. It was simply a devil fruit tailor-made for him. Since possessing the devil fruit, my strength has increased several times. Even Fire Fist Ace, the second captain of the Whitebeard pirates and the son of One Piece, was defeated by him not long ago. Listening to the ferocious laughter of these pirates, the blonde serving the food on the side was so frightened that her back was dripping with sweat. Just as Blackbeard's sinister laughter echoed throughout the villa, the door of the villa creaked open, a ray of light penetrated through the crack in the door, and then a person appeared behind the door. A young man walked over slowly, looking like a salted fish. He was still holding the elbow that was originally intended for Blackbeard, and he was eating deliciously. The person who came was none other than Yi Yu, captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard pirates. The blonde beauty who was still in the villa opened her mouth in shock when she saw Yi Yu, and her eyes were round. Did the young man in front of her not want to live anymore? Don't you know that these pirates are murderous demons? This morning, these demons killed all the 100 guards on the entire island. It is no exaggeration to say that these pirates are now the kings of this island. They hold the power of life and death for the people on the island. If you do not serve these pirates well, you will probably be executed. And, what is the situation with the young man in front of me? That food was for pirates like Blackbeard. This man actually ate the food in front of these pirates. Don't the young people in front of me not want to live? Ha! Blackbeard, who had been laughing wildly just now, naturally noticed Yi Yu's presence. The laughter stopped suddenly. Blackbeard's men also noticed Yi Yu's presence and frowned one by one. Naturally, there was no need for Blackbeard to take action. A ship doctor who walked tremblingly and looked extremely ill came to Yi Yu's side. This person is the poisonous Q with the title of Shinigami in One Piece. How could Yi Yu not recognize him? Young man, don't be anxious. There are plenty of delicious things. This apple is for you. Eat it. Du Q said with a smile, a hint of coldness flashed in his eyes. After saying that, Du Q returned to his previous seat and smiled jokingly. The members of the Blackbeard pirates were still munching on their food. At the same time, they glanced at the ignorant young man in front of them with their remaining corners, and Kakuzu unconsciously revealed a hint of joking. The blonde beauty on the side is clenching her pink fist tightly, her pretty face is slightly pale. This apple, will explode. This sick-looking man had used these apples to blow up many people on the island before. Thinking about that kind of scene, his body still trembles unconsciously. The young man in front of me is about to die in front of him. Do I want to save him? Faced with a living life, the blonde beauty finally mustered up the courage to speak with difficulty. Her tone was jerky, and her voice was as low as a mosquito. No, don't eat it, it will explode. After finishing speaking, the blonde beauty prayed silently, hoping not to be heard by the people of the Blackbeard pirates. However, she still underestimated the Blackbeard pirates. How could an ordinary person escape the capture of the Blackbeard pirates with his small actions? Sniper Fan Oka took out his sniper rifle and aimed it at the blonde beauty. The extremely vicious Blackbeard pirates don't know what it means to cherish a woman's beauty. The blonde beauty was instantly filled with great fear. She was so far away and her voice was so small, but she was still heard. The blonde beauty's pink lips were trembling, her eyes were slightly glazed over, her beautiful legs were trembling, and she almost collapsed on the ground. Was she about to be executed? Ping! A gunshot rang out. A bullet was extremely fast, exceeding the speed of sound, and even caused sparks from friction in the air. A straight trajectory appeared and flew towards the blonde beauty's head at high speed. Just when the bullet was about to hit the blonde beauty, an invisible force suddenly appeared and blocked the blonde beauty. Under this invisible force, the bullet could no longer move forward, and directly slipped and fell to the ground. At this time, the blonde beauty was already sitting on the ground, still panting violently, her chest was rising and falling, and her beautiful eyes were tightly closed. Waiting for your own death. A lazy voice appeared. Beautiful lady, thank you for the reminder. Please find someone to clean up the corpses of these bastards. Yi Yu said to the blonde in a gentlemanly manner. The blonde beauty woke up from the fear just now and fixed her eyes on Yi Yu. For some reason, she saw this young man in front of her who looked carefree. At this moment, I felt unusually tall, like a giant. You can go, beauty. It will be very bloody here in a while. It's better for women not to see this kind of scene. Yi Yu continued. The blonde beauty stood up hurriedly and ran towards the door. Just now, did this person actually take the bullet? What a powerful man, if it were him, he might really be able to kill these pirates. The blonde beauty ran towards the village chief's home on this island, preparing to report everything here to the village chief as soon as possible. Everyone in Blackbeard stood up one after another and looked at the young man in front of them with surprised eyes. Why did they feel like conquerors just now? Is it an illusion? Are you, a crew member of the Whitebeard pirates? Blackbeard said, squinting his eyes and looking at Yi Yu. Blackbeard also predicted that the Whitebeard pirates would never give up, but he didn't expect that they would come so soon. You're still not polite when you meet Captain Zero? Yi Yu said unceremoniously, full of contempt. Captain of Division Zero? Blackbeard was stunned for a moment, then his expression returned to calm. Ha ha ha, thief. It turns out to be the captain of Division Zero, whom Whitebeard's father often mentioned. He's underestimating his authority, and he's underestimating his authority. Blackbeard said with a smile, without looking angry at all. The rest of Blackbeard's men are not so kind. Fan Oka has already picked up the sniper rifle and locked it on Yi Yu's forehead. As long as Yi Yu makes any unusual movements, he promises to pull the trigger directly. Although Du Q did not make any big moves, he had already put his hands behind his back and secretly began to prepare potent poisons. Burgess and others also looked at Yi Yu warily, preparing to kill Yi Yu if Yi Yu made any extraordinary move against Blackbeard. Yi Yu smiled slightly. It seemed that Blackbeard's city was not as deep as usual. A smiling tiger is generally worthy of this kind of person. I don't know, Captain Zero, what do you want from me when you come here? I'll help you if you can. After all, I was once a member of the Whitebeard Pirates. Blackbeard showed his gap teeth and pretended said seriously. Yi Yu, who was afraid of trouble, no longer wanted to go around in circles with Blackbeard, so he directly explained his purpose. Blackbeard, I'm here mainly to get your head. You can just give me your head. This way you can die more happily and I can do business. Isn't it the best of both worlds? The corner of his mouth curled slightly. Yang Yang said jokingly. This sentence completely angered Blackbeard. The smiling face before no longer existed, revealing a cold face. If you want my head, I'm afraid you're not qualified enough. Captain of Division 0? A thief, ha 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 ha. Maybe he is a fool worse than Fire Fist Ace. With the dark fruit, I am invincible. Blackbeard roared angrily. Blackbeard, of course, would not think that a captain of the 0 Division who had never shown up, a young boy who had never been seen before, could defeat his Blackbeard pirates. I don't know when, bursts of black mist have risen above Blackbeard's thick palm, and the arrogance on his face are clearly revealed. Duck, Burgess, Fan Oka and others also took out their weapons and looked at Yi Yu with evil eyes, looking eager to try. These guys, the Blackbeard pirates, will not fight you one-on-one. Killing the people they want to kill in the shortest possible time, even without dignity, by any means. This is the characteristic of the Blackbeard pirates. It is also the reason why they can grow and develop. Boy, it's too late for you to regret it now. Since you are the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates 0 Division, how about joining me and I'll give you a position? Blackbeard, who is extremely wealthy, at this moment, not yet forget about poaching Whitebeard and strengthening yourself. Yi Yu directly gave Blackbeard an idiot expression. A mere ungrateful, weak and pitiful guy, you are not worthy of letting me join you. Yi Yu said with no mercy and a look of contempt on his face. Blackbeard, a guy who can even give up his dignity for the sake of victory, will never become the strongest in Yi Yu's eyes. The strongest will never retreat in the face of the enemy. Keep moving forward and never retreat, this is the principle that the strong follow. After saying that, Yi Yu directly released his conquerors. You guys, it's better not to get in my way, it's too troublesome. Yi Yu said disdainfully. Immediately afterwards, the surrounding air seemed to sense something terrible and trembled. With Yi Yu as the center, a strong energy swept in all directions in an instant. The whole villa seemed to have a Category 10 hurricane blowing in an instant. The table that Blackbeard was using just now for eating, along with all the items in the villa, were all blown away in an instant. In the end, even the entire villa could not withstand this terrible force. It was blown to the ground by the strong wind and turned into pieces of gravel, which flew away with the wind. The powerful force prevented the Blackbeard pirates from reacting at all, with expressions of confusion and surprise on their faces. This terrible destructive power is a lie, right? There were not too many incidents that left them confused. The next moment, the feeling of being enveloped by conquerors came over them. Burgess, Lafitte, Van Oka and others only felt that their hearts were invaded by a terrible energy, and now only a huge sense of fear was left, which was a tremor from the deepest part of the soul. Their bodies became stiff, but their lips kept trembling, and big beads of sweat flowed from their cheeks. At this moment, all their energy was spent on how to control their bodies and not fall down. They had no time to think about attacking the kid in front of them. Seeing everyone's weird expressions, as if they were constipated, Yi Yu laughed unkindly. In order to prevent you from being in so much pain, I think I'd better increase my intensity, hee hee. Yi Yu's mouth curved slightly. Everyone's faces became even more ugly. Everyone showed expressions that were more uncomfortable than eating shit. Isn't this the greatest strength? The majestic Conquerors becomes more intense, and with it, the power becomes even more terrifying. The corners of Du Q's mouth trembled slightly, and he spoke with difficulty, this is Conquerors. So scary. Boom. A burst of dust flew up. Finally, Poison Q was the first to be unable to bear it and passed out first. Blackbeard was completely confused and yelled at the poisonous Q. Poison Q, get up, get up. Poison Q. Are you kidding me? Conquerors can knock out my captain. Even the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard, can't guarantee that he can knock out a player of Poison Q's level just by passing Conquerors. However, the next moment, Fan Oka felt a sweetness in his throat, a trace of blood welled up from the corner of his mouth, and his face trembled. A mere young man, actually has such a powerful Conquerors? After saying that, he fell over. Blackbeard widened his eyes, everything in front of him seemed so unreal. It doesn't matter if Du Q falls down, that guy has been sick all day long, and his physical fitness is not good to begin with. Why is Fan Oka, who has always been calm and collected, not good enough? This is really the first time I have encountered a guy who can deal such terrifying damage just by relying on Conquerors. Yes, the Blackbeard pirates are more powerful than I thought. It seems that I don't need to hold back. Yi Yu said slowly with a smile on his face. It's just, this smile, in the eyes of Blackbeard Teach, is indeed terrifying. Blackbeard's eyes were locked on Yi Yu, who seemed to have no fighting ability, with a serious look on his face. Buzz. Waves of Conqueror's shock waves appeared with Yi Yu as the center, constantly impacting the surroundings. The entire island began to tremble because of Yi Yu's Conquerors. Located near the shock wave, everyone in the Blackbeard pirates looked even more frightened. Even Blackbeard was sweating on his forehead, and his palms were trembling unconsciously. Are you kidding me? How could a strong man like me, Blackbeard, be disturbed by Conquerors and tremble? Blackbeard looked at his trembling hands with a dull look on his face full of disbelief. Boom! Boom! After Yi Yu unleashed his domineering power without reservation, Blackbeard's men, including the physically strong Burgess, fell to the ground and fainted one after another. If you observe carefully, you can see the suspicious and frightened expressions on Burgess and the others' faces before they passed out. Conquerors was finally released, and Yi Yu still had a calm expression on his face. Looking at Blackbeard's proud men, they all fell to the ground and yawned. Now, all these annoying bastards have been cleared away, and only you are left, Blackbeard Teach. Yi Yu looked down at Blackbeard Teach and said coldly. At the same time, the villagers of Rabina Island also gathered in the forest area 1 kilometer away from the battle between Yi Yu and Blackbeard. The village chief, Rona, was in the woods 1 kilometer east of the battle site, holding a telescope and observing every move of the battle here. There was also a beautiful blonde beside him. It was Lily, the girl who reminded Yi Yu not to eat exploding apples. Lily, at first I didn't believe that someone could fight against Blackbeard's group of pirates, but now, I believe it. That man is so powerful. Village Chief Rona said with great shock when he saw Yi Yu knocking all Blackbeard's men unconscious as soon as he came over. Ren himself would never believe that Yi Yu, an ordinary-looking young man, could actually kill those vicious pirates. The village chief gave Lily the telescope, and Lily opened her mouth wide after looking at it. Through the telescope, she confirmed that those vicious pirates had indeed passed out. The red lips trembled slightly and she said excitedly, he really did it. One person killed those powerful pirates. The surrounding island villagers also curiously brought over their binoculars to watch what was going on at Yu. Those pirates they had once been unable to defeat were really like dead pigs at this moment, falling to the ground one by one and bleeding. He was beaten like this by a man. Who the hell is this young man? Everyone's lips trembled, and while their hearts were shocked, they couldn't help but think. A battle of this level makes the entire island tremble in a flash. Couldn't be the four emperors? A villager suddenly remembered something and said in shock. Four emperors. After everyone heard this word, their hearts trembled. Hereby. Everyone gasped. The four emperors are the most powerful pirate group in the world and represent absolute authority. Oh my God, what have we experienced on Rabina Island in just a few days? First, a group of powerful pirates who claimed to be from the New World caused chaos on the entire island. Now, another four has arrived. The strong men on the Emperor's ship want to kill this group of pirates. I hope this young man is not a vicious person, otherwise, he might be even scarier than the previous pirates. After hearing this, Lily blinked her eyes. Don't worry, he must be a good man. He is here to save us. Yu didn't know everything in the distance. At this time, Yu only thought about how to kill this disgusting guy Blackbeard Teach. Blackbeard Teach was also furious. His men were so vulnerable. Burgess, with such a strong physique, was knocked unconscious by Conquerors. Ha 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 ha, thief, Lousy has made it this far with great difficulty, how can I let you, a fledgling kid, be defeated? Blackbeard was forced into a desperate situation, but he felt a little fighting spirit. In the Whitebeard pirates, except for Whitebeard, Blackbeard Teach, will not lose to anyone. Your conquerors can't knock me down. Can't it? Zero Squadron Captain Yu. Blackbeard Teach roared loudly with. I don't know when, the ground under Blackbeard Teach's feet actually gathered a large amount of dark matter. Yu looked at the black beard in front of him and was a little surprised. He originally thought that Teach, the black beard guy, would kneel down and beg for mercy. It seems that Teach's previous timidity was all just an act. Yu slowly took 2 steps towards Blackbeard Teach and showed a happy smile to Blackbeard Teach. This is the right thing, Teach, otherwise, it would be too boring. Yu said lightly, looking at Blackbeard expectantly, hoping that Blackbeard would perform well in the battle and not lose too quickly. Ha ha ha. Boy, we still don't know who will win. At this time, layers of black mist strangely appeared around the entire battlefield. The dark substance at Blackbeard's feet unexpectedly flowed under Yu's feet at some point. It is located in the forest area 1 kilometer away from the battlefield. Village Chief Luo Na had a worried look on his face. It's broken, that pirate with Blackbeard is also very powerful. People around them looked over one after another. Due to Blackbeard, the entire sky became extremely dark, and the villagers on the entire island felt a feeling of fear and nausea in their hearts. Lily took the telescope and looked in the direction of Yu. At this time, Yu was still the same as before, with a faint smile and a calm face. Lily breathed a sigh of relief slowly. That young man is not scared, don't worry. Lily's pink lips trembled, cheering up the people around her. On the battlefield, Blackbeard laughed devilishly again. Ha 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 ha. It seems like your knowledge is average. My dark power has already touched you. You didn't realize it, ha ha ha. Blackbeard Teach laughed crazily. Yu lowered his head and looked at his feet. It was now completely dark. He raised his head slightly and looked at Blackbeard, his face full of contempt. It was just some dirty tricks. My knowledge of things is not very ordinary, it's not at all, but, even if I didn't notice it, what can you do, Blackbeard? Yu said lightly. Huh. Blackbeard Teach was a little surprised. The Conqueror's is so powerful, but he doesn't know how to tell. But, it doesn't sound like a lie. Ha 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 ha, you young boy, you told me your weakness so quickly. You can go and die, kid. Dark acupoints. Blackbeard said arrogantly. In Blackbeard's eyes, although Yi Yu is powerful, he has zero combat experience. He told his opponent about his weaknesses before the battle was over. Isn't he an idiot? At Yi Yu's feet, the dark substance became increasingly dense. Following Blackbeard Teach's command, a strong attraction arose, as if it was a call from hell. Everything around him was sucked in by this darkness. Even the forest 1 kilometer away was blown by strong winds because of this terrifying force. The villagers watching the battle hugged the big trees next to them to avoid being pulled over. The center of this terrible gravitational force is at Yi Yu's feet. You can imagine how powerful Yi Yu has to resist. What Blackbeard wants is to pull Yi Yu into this darkness and then crush him. Die in my secret hole. However, Yi Yu still stood there as if nothing was wrong. Die in my secret hole. Blackbeard continued to shout. Although the dark energy became more powerful and more things were sucked into the ground, Yi Yu still looked calm and yawned. It turns out that Yi Yu directly used his own conquerors to activate the same reaction force. The gravity of those dark materials is completely helpless to Yi Yu. In fact, as long as Yi Yu is willing, he can ravage those dark materials into any pattern he can imagine. Is this all you have? Teach, it seems that you can't please me. It's too boring. Let's call it a day. The trace of fun I had for Blackbeard just now was gone in an instant. In the sky, a huge transparent Buddha palm formed by conquerors suddenly appeared, aimed at Blackbeard Teach, and slapped it heavily. Blackbeard Teach sensed something strange, looked up at the sky, and immediately showed a frightened and exaggerated expression. Conquerors. Conqueror's transformation. An attack method comparable to the long-range Conqueror's entanglement. The clothes on Blackbeard Teach's back were soaked with sweat. No matter how Blackbeard imagined it, he would never believe that a young man less than 20 years old had actually reached the Conqueror's realm of transformation that Roger once called One Piece. This powerful force, if you are hit, you will die. The fat and dark Blackbeard gasped violently and looked at the sky with dull eyes. Showing his teeth and saying in horror. The strong wind pressure arrived first, and Blackbeard's ugly face was directly flattened by the wind, making it look even uglier. The speed is too fast and there is no way to dodge. Liberation. The substances that were previously attracted to Blackbeard's Teach's dark acupoints were all released by Blackbeard. Tons of matter flew into the sky, with the purpose of stopping Yi Yu's terrifying attack. Boom! Once the dark matter touched the Buddha's palm in the sky, it exploded directly. Piles of matter surged into the sky, and then piles of matter exploded in the sky and lost power, sliding straight down from the sky. Blackbeard Teach's face turned extremely pale. The ability he was so proud of had no effect at all in the face of Yi Yu's domineering power. However, Blackbeard Teach was unwilling to give up just like that, and used all his strength to mobilize all the dark power in his body, gathering it into a huge dark energy body. The strong sense of oppression actually made Blackbeard break through his own limits and become more powerful than before. Heaven and earth. Blackbeard roared angrily. Thief, ha 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 ha. Yi Yu, you didn't expect that I became stronger again, thief, ha 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 ha. Blackbeard laughed wildly. The wind was dancing wildly around the entire Rabina Island, the sky seemed extremely dark, and the villagers on the entire island showed frightened eyes one by one. The end. This is the legendary end. Each and every resident had dull and frightened faces. Even the animals on the island were fleeing in all directions. Those animals that were relatively close to the battlefield were actually attracted by Blackbeard's terrifying energy. Become part of the dark energy. For the village chief and his group who were watching from a distance, the entire telescope lens was completely dark. Lily hugged an unusually thick tree next to her to prevent it from being blown away by the strong wind, but her head kept thinking. If the powerful Blackbeard pirate wins in the end, will he be angry with the residents of the entire island? It's scary to think about it now. At this time, the residents of the entire island will be brutally murdered. The dark matter completely collided with the transparent Buddha's palm in the sky. Thunder suddenly rolled across the sky, and streaks of lightning fell from the sky. Boom! Boom! After a period of stalemate, light appeared slightly in the sky again. Yiyu's conquerors completely suppressed the dark energy. Yiyu raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and the transparent Buddha palm in the sky suddenly doubled in size, and he slapped the black-bearded Teach heavily. Blackbeard Teach's eyes widened. Feeling the strong sense of oppression, his face trembled as he murmured, "Are you kidding me? This boy is actually so strong." With a roar, the huge Buddha's palm directly knocked Blackbeard Teach into the ground, causing the entire Rabina Island to tremble violently. The ground hit directly left a huge Buddha palm print. Yiyu slowly walked to the crack in his palm and looked down. A large amount of blood flowed from the corner of Blackbeard Teach's mouth. He was paralyzed in the collapse and had been photographed. "It's out of shape." A pair of eyes stared at Yiyu in horror. It is really unimaginable that a young man less than 20 years old can be so powerful that the invisible conqueror's attack power is even more terrifying than his own strongest blow. "Zero, Captain Zero, I admit defeat, please spare me, I am willing to give all my treasures." Blackbeard Teach no longer had the arrogance he had just now. Yiyu squinted his eyes and stared condescendingly at Blackbeard in the ruins. "Blackbeard Teach," I said, "today is the day you die. I will give you another chance to kill yourself. This will make your death easier." Yiyu said coldly. The sharp cold light made Blackbeard's heart tremble. Looking at Yiyu's slowly raised hands, Blackbeard was completely frightened. If he withstood the huge conqueror's Buddha palm again, there was no doubt that his life would be ended immediately. Blackbeard Teach used all his strength to get up, then knelt down in front of Yiyu with a plop, and directly hugged Yiyu's feet with his hands. "Captain Yiyu, because we work together in the same pirate group, please spare my life." Blackbeard roared in embarrassment, holding back his pain. Yiyu was not moved at all. He was very familiar with Blackbeard Teach. Everything was just pretending. He was not as compassionate as Whitebeard. "Don't kill me. Don't kill me. I have a way to save Ace. I can contact Marine again and bring Ace." Blackbeard, who sensed Yiyu's killing intent, shouted in horror. "Huh?" Yiyu narrowed his eyes. "Tell me about it." Yiyu said calmly. "Blackbeard must be executed, but Yiyu is curious about what Teach, Blackbeard, can do to rescue Ace." Blackbeard Teach rolled and crawled to Yiyu's feet, panting. Don't kill me, Captain Yiyu. I'll tell you how." Dark water. Blackbeard, who was weak just now, suddenly became sharp again. In an instant, Blackbeard's last black power gathered in his hand, and he hit Yiyu's head hard. Ace has been imprisoned in the great prison under the sea. He can no longer be rescued by you. Thief, ha 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 ha. You are still too naive. My Captain Yiyu, your lack of knowledge and understanding will be your biggest drawback. Thief, ha ha ha. Pay the price for your arrogance. Blackbeard Teach, with bleeding mouth corners, became ferocious again. Laughed wildly. Just 1 meter away from Yiyu's head, Blackbeard's fist could not move forward at all. Yiyu's passive defense automatically turns on. An invisible barrier covers 360 degrees without blind spots, protecting Yiyu. Is this an invisible barrier? Blackbeard looked confused at first. His fist seemed to have hit some hard sea rock and he was unable to move forward at all. Feeling the fear from the deepest part of his soul, Blackbeard looked surprised and shocked again, and widened his eyes. This is, Conquerors. It is really unimaginable that the young man in front of me still has such a unique skill. Controlling the Conquerors that he dreamed of owning at will, he attacked and defended himself as one, and looked at the young man in front of him again. This reminded Blackbeard of a person, Rox. For such a terrifying guy at such a young age, only Rox can rival him on this sea. Not even Whitebeard and One Piece Roger can possess such terrifying conquerors. Yi Yu's face rose slightly. Congratulations, you answered correctly, Teach. As a reward, I will give you my first experience of the Shinra Heavenly Conquest. Blackbeard hasn't reacted yet. What is this? What kind of sign? The next moment, the barrier expanded and exploded in an instant, and a terrifying energy surged crazily around Yi Yu, centered on Yi Yu. Even the surrounding air becomes illusory under this powerful energy. With a loud noise, Blackbeard was directly hit into the sky, and then fell straight to the ground like a kite that had fallen off the string. Along with it were Blackbeard's bloodshot teeth. Blackbeard, who had fallen to the ground, had a face full of fear. His face was shaken and tilted, and blood was flowing continuously. There was no intact part of his body. The clothes on his body were torn to pieces by the explosion, and blood stains could be seen everywhere on his body. Only 4 of his fingers were broken off. The ring of the pistol and the wine on his waist were all broken down somewhere. People's dreams will never end. I, Blackbeard Teach, have not been defeated. Blackbeard was out of breath and panting. Yi Yu frowned. He really couldn't imagine that a despicable guy like Blackbeard would talk about his dreams all day long. Wouldn't he feel disgusted? He is just a man who can give up everything for his own selfish desires. In the forest area 1 kilometer to the east, Lily picked up the telescope again and looked curiously at the battlefield. He succeeded. That Blackbeard pirate is dead. Lily said excitedly. The people around were overjoyed when they heard it. This was good news for them. The pirate with Blackbeard had killed many residents on the island. It was considered revenge for them. The village chief snatched the telescope. After seeing Blackbeard's miserable state, he was so surprised that he couldn't close his mouth and swallowed 2 mouthfuls of saliva frantically in his throat. I never thought that such a powerful pirate would be so vulnerable in front of that young man. At the scene, Yi Yu came to the dying Blackbeard, his face slightly curved. Remember, it's Shinra Tianjing. After taking 2 steps, Yi Yu stopped. By the way, I also mixed it with the power of the Xinjiang fruit. You will be able to feel it in a moment. After saying that, Yi Yu turned his head directly. Originally, with Yi Yu's fear of trouble, he could just kill the enemy and complete the mission, but facing Blackbeard, the character he hated the most in One Piece, Yi Yu still put some thought into it. On the basis of his own Shinra Tianjing, he also mixed it with the energy of the Xinjiang fruit. As Conquerors exploded, he followed the force directly into Blackbeard's body. As for Blackbeard's incompetent men who were knocked unconscious by his Conquerors, before Yi Yu left, he also used Conquerors to kill them as quickly as possible. Arriving on his own boat, he once again used his domineering power to steer the boat. Really, it was a miscalculation. I should have brought a rower with me. Yi Yu said helplessly. Although consuming Conqueror's rowing boat is nothing to Yi Yu, it is really too troublesome. Wouldn't it be more beautiful to have others row the boat and lie on the boat and sleep in the sun? Yi Yu had just left Rabina Island 1 kilometer away. This guy, Blackbeard Teach, actually half sat up with his strong perseverance, looking at his broken body, breathing heavily. His face trembled, and he murmured, I didn't expect that the Whitebeard pirates have such a powerful guy. I'm really lucky to survive from him, thief ha ha ha. Lily, who was still observing the battlefield because she was afraid of pirates in the forest area, almost screamed in fright. The reason why these people are still staying here is because the Blackbeard pirates have brought them too much pain before. So they keep observing in the dark. As a result, the most terrifying thing happened. The Blackbeard pirate didn't die. After suffering such a terrifying blow, he is still alive. It can only be said that his fate is really extraordinary. Village chief, he is not dead. Lily said in horror. What? The village chief and the surrounding island residents all showed ugly expressions. Blackbeard Teach is not dead, which means disaster for their island. The village chief took the telescope from Lily's hand and looked in the direction of Blackbeard Teach. Then, the village chief kept watching, his body stiff and motionless, and he seemed to have stopped breathing. Lily thought the village chief was bewildered by something, so she spoke anxiously. Village chief, what's wrong with you? Village chief, please speak. It turned out that just when Blackbeard Teach was about to get up, the shock fruit that Yi Yu had brought into Blackbeard's body with his domineering energy woke up. Unlike Whitebeard's release method, Yi Yu's Jinjin fruit can attach to human body cells along with the Jinjin fruit. First, the bones in Blackbeard's body were shaken and changed their positions at will, making Blackbeard's whole body look like it was deformed. Then, the bones in the body were directly shattered by the power of the shock fruit, and the heart-pounding pain made Blackbeard, who was already experiencing double the pain, even more unbearable. His hands and feet, which had long been deformed, were kicking randomly, and the howl of a slaughtering pig resounded throughout the island. When the last gust of wind blew by, Blackbeard's body was shattered into powder, and flew to the sea with the wind. Lily, who was in the forest, heard the tragic howling, picked up the telescope, and looked towards Blackbeard. Then, he had the same expression as the village chief, and stayed there, motionless. They had never even heard of this weird way of killing. At this moment, Lily was not only frightened, but also a little shocked. Could that young man who seemed carefree and harmless be so ruthless? Later, the residents of these islands ran over and found that except for Blackbeard, all the pirates who had burned, killed and plundered the islands had been killed by a mysterious force. We can only see the deep fear before death from their expressions. The village chief swallowed twice and said, "My dear, fortunately that young man is a good man. With that young man's skills, it is possible to kill all the people on our island with one move." Lily, on the other hand, looked in the direction Yi Yu left with a somewhat complicated expression. So far, the Blackbeard pirates have been completely wiped out. The appearance of Yi Yu has quietly changed the course of the entire pirate world. Yi Yu, who was sailing on the sea, directly opened his system panel, and the reward for killing Blackbeard had been received. I clicked on the reward, and sure enough, killing Blackbeard's gang directly added 300 Conqueror's points to myself. Now my Conqueror's domineering points are almost reaching 5,400 points, and I also gained an additional active skill. Flash, instantly go from one place to any place within 100 meters. Yi Yu nodded with satisfaction. This spatial skill is a magical skill, whether it is used to chase enemies or to escape. At the same time, Yi Yu's stomach began to growl. Oh, miscalculation, miscalculation. I brought too little food, I underestimated my appetite. Yi Yu said jokingly. Looking around, there were occasionally a few sea fish jumping out of the surroundings. It was not difficult to catch them. A Conqueror's would knock him unconscious. It's just, no matter how powerful I am, I can't just lie down and cook with Conqueror's thoughts. Even if you starve to death, you won't be able to cook for yourself. After being hungry all night, I was worrying. Early the next morning, I launched my own search and found out that there was a huge marine battleship sailing 200 kilometers southeast. Ha ha ha. It's Marine's sailboat. It's been so many years since I've been in this world, but I haven't tasted Marine's food yet. Anyway, I have completed the task of killing Teach Blackbeard ahead of schedule. The announcement of Ace's execution has not been issued yet. I might as well go to the marine warship to eat and drink for a few days. It's not too late to leave after eating and drinking. At that moment, Yi Yu lay on the boat and opened the Conquerors at full speed. Although his boat was small, it had full horsepower thanks to the Conqueror's blessing. As the boat was speeding at a high speed, huge waves appeared at the stern of the boat. Yi Yu didn't know that while he was chasing the marine warship, his deeds on Robina Island had already been published. It turned out that not long after Yi Yu left, on Robina Island, a newsman with huge bird wings was talking to the boss of his World Economic News Agency. President Morgans, I discovered a big news on Robina Island. Beach, the pigeon devil fruit user, said excitedly. At this time, Morgans, the president of World Economic News, was drinking coffee in his company. After hearing the news from Beach, he still looked calm. He took a sip of hot coffee with the corner of his mouth. Beaky, how many times have I told you to stay calm when things happen and listen to what you have to say? Don't beat around the bush with me. Just keep it simple. Report, President Morgans, that the Blackbeard pirates were completely wiped out by an unknown boy on Robina Island. Beach said straight to the point. Pfft. The coffee that had just reached his mouth was sprayed out by Morgans. People around noticed the president's strangeness and cast their eyes over him. For the president to be so uneasy, there is no doubt that it must be another breaking news. What did you say? The Blackbeard who defeated Fire Fist Ace, the second captain of the Whitebeard pirates. Morgans looked shocked. Regarding Blackbeard, perhaps not too many people in this sea know about it yet. But who am I? I specialize in intelligence work. Blackbeard defeated Ace, but he was followed by his own men. Morgans is very clear about Blackbeard's strength. A proper Shichibukai level. Still at the top. Will he be defeated by a young man? Or take the entire Blackbeard pirates with him? There was a show-off look on Beaky's side. Ha ha ha. President Morgans, just now you said you wanted me to be calm. Why do I feel that you are less calm than me? Morgans had no intention of joking, and asked in a serious voice, Beach, you guy, tell me quickly if you are the Blackbeard who defeated Ace. Noticing the seriousness of the president, Beach did not dare to say anything. Report, Lord Morgans, it is that Blackbeard. Teach. After hearing that it was definitely the black-bearded Teach, Morgans's eyes shone a little. You continue the investigation there, I will send people to assist you in the local investigation now. After a night of investigation and through the memories of local people, a news report about Yi Yu has been written, and the news headline is also very attractive. Mysterious young man, annihilating the Blackbeard pirates, suspected of being the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard pirates. This news was personally written by Morgans, the president of the World Economic News Agency, and sent to all parts of the world early in the morning. I got a report about this kid 10 years ago. The reporter told me at the time that for a kid less than 10 years old, Conquerors is comparable to Whitebeard. I didn't believe it at the time. Now it seems that I was wrong. Morgan said with trembling corners of his mouth. People around were shocked again. 10 years ago, Yi Yu was only 10 years old at most. Conquerors comparable to the world's strongest man, Whitebeard. Oh my gosh, the amount of information is a bit beyond their comprehension. New world above the sea, a messenger seagull flies on the sea and drops newspapers one by one to regular users. It only took one day to distribute this news to all parts of the world in the form of newspapers. New World, Marine Headquarters, Sengoku received the newspaper immediately, and immediately became gloomy. Garp on the side saw that Sengoku's expression was a little strange. Arriving at Sengua's desk, he opened the newspaper Sengua had read just now. On the screen, there is a long-distance blurred photo taken by the local island people of Yi Yu, who looks very young, and the Blackbeard Teach is lying next to him, covered in blood. Ha ha ha. Blackbeard deserves to die. Such a despicable guy deserves to die. Garp did not shy away from Sengoku's presence. Garp has always been bitter about the fact that Teach, the bastard Blackbeard, actually captured his godson and gave it to Marine. If he hadn't been wearing the Marine uniform that represents justice, Garp would have sworn to beat Teach Blackbeard to death. Looking at his old friend, Sengoku couldn't get angry. That's enough, Garp, stop acting like a kid. The one who annihilated Blackbeard might be the mysterious Zero Division captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. I have heard about the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates for a long time, and I also heard Whitebeard say it himself, but the captain of the Zero Division has never shown his face. At this critical moment, someone came forward to annihilate the Blackbeard Pirates. Looking at it now, this news is extremely credible. Being able to kill Teach, who has just been promoted to Shichibukai, shows that this young man is as strong as Madara. Maybe he has the strength of a general. Sengoku said seriously. Facing the powerful enemy Whitebeard, Sengoku was already very nervous, but who knew that now another Zero Division captain had appeared, which reduced the winning rate of Marine commanded by Sengoku by another 10%. Warring States massaged his temples with his hands, looking sad. I really don't know what young people nowadays think. If such a good young man doesn't become a good Marine, why would he become a pirate? After hearing these words, Garp couldn't help but think of his 2 grandchildren, and he felt very sad. He left the Fleet Admiral office with a dark face. Garp, you guy, remember your position, you are Marine. Marine can no longer cause trouble. Sengoku roared at Garp. Garp stopped, then clenched his fists. I know. If it weren't for this Marine uniform, I would have leveled the Great Prison under the sea long ago. After Garp left, Warring States let out a long sigh of relief. He looked at Yi Yu on the desk again, frowning. Captain Zero. It seems that it is necessary to hold a small meeting. The Whitebeard Pirates are stronger than we thought. On the New World Ghost Island, lightning kept appearing in the sky, making the huge skull building on the Ghost Island even more eerie and terrifying. In the Ghost Island, Kaido drank wine with a wine gourd. After listening to the reporter read the latest news, Kaido looked disdainful. Ha ha ha. Why did Captain Zero just kill a new Shichibukai and be praised to the sky? Those guys in the news agency write news in order to make money, and they are getting more and more out of control. Yi Yu, right? If you have the guts, come to Ghost Island and give it a try. You're still far behind. The surrounding pirates were all stunned and too frightened to move. Their Lord Kaido would act drunkenly several times a day on average, and each time they would be frightened. If you are not careful, you will be accidentally killed by Lord Kaido's mace. On Cake Island, the ant also received the news. Stopped chewing in his mouth. Huh. Is this kid really as powerful as the news says? Auntie looked suspicious. Perospero wearing a colorful hat came to Big Mom. Tell Mom, I've already had a phone call with Morgans. It's absolutely true that this kid is at least the level of an Imperial deputy. Perospero said respectfully. Mum. Funny kid, he is already so powerful at less than 20 years old. The ant laughed, her fat and greasy face swaying with fat. It can be seen that the ant is still very curious about Yi Yu. I said, Perospero, do you think this kid is so powerful because he is a new race? Find someone to bring him to all nations. We all nations need a new race. Perospero was sweating slightly on his forehead. Who could bring such a powerful brat over? However, I didn't dare to disobey my aunt's orders. Yes, Mom, I'll make arrangements right away. After saying that, Perospero bowed respectfully and left the room. Above the sea, a floating pirate flag with a one-eyed hole fluttered in the wind. It is the main pirate ship of Shanks, one of the 4 emperors in this world. Early in the morning, Shanks was woken up by Beckman. The red-haired Shanks yawned, with a sleepy look on his face, and said reproachfully, Hey, Beckman, you're a guy who won't let anyone sleep. Yesterday, you drank until 2 o'clock in the middle of the night and didn't go to bed. What time did you wake up? Wake me up. Beckman did not answer, with a serious expression. He smoked a cigarette vigorously, and then slowly exhaled it. For a moment, the smoke filled the air. "Hey, let me say, Shanks, you must be very interested in this news." "News about Blackbeard Teach." After hearing the words, Blackbeard Teach, the red-haired Shanks looked grim and took the newspaper. "What? That guy Teach with the black beard, is dead?" Red-haired Shanks' eyes showed great shock. "Others may not know Teach, the black beard, but I know Teach very well. That Teach is not a good person, he is a very powerful monster with double life. Even I got scars from the battle with Blackbeard Teach. He had warned Whitebeard a long time ago to prevent Ace from arresting Blackbeard Teach, but Whitebeard refused to listen, and that's when Blackbeard Teach subdued Ace and handed it over to Marine. But, this guy named Yu actually, wiped out the Blackbeard pirates by himself. How terrifying." Beckman put out the cigarette in his hand and looked at the sea. "Red-haired boss, this sea is getting more and more interesting, isn't it?" The red-haired Shanks also looked at the sea in front of him. The corners of his mouth raised slightly, and a sense of domineering suddenly emerged. "I really want to meet the captain of Division 0 who killed Blackbeard. It seems that a new era is coming. Are you ready?" "Beckman, don't be dragged down by the rising star, ha ha ha." Unknowingly, Yu spent 2 hours and finally caught up with the Marine warship. When Yu rushed to the Marine warship, his boat was already in tatters. Yu looked at his boat, which was already in disarray, and scratched his head in embarrassment. "Because I was too hungry, I exerted a little too much force. The boat was so tormented by myself that only a frame was left." Fortunately, there was a ready-made ship in front of him. Yu directly activated his Conquerors, and Conquerors transformed, dragging Yu up into the sky. Effortlessly, relying on the fruits of his search, Yu quickly arrived at the canteen. It's not meal time yet, but lunch is already prepared. Because of Marine training, all the Marines were doing exercises on the deck, and now only Yu was left in the entire mess hall. Opening the lid of the pot, there are braised prawns, seafood, foie gras, chicken legs, duck legs, sushi, everything. It seems that the Marine headquarters is really rich. It's just some sailors at the Marine headquarters, but the food is so good. Yu rubbed his hands and said excitedly. "Then I'm not polite, haha. Let's move." At this moment, Yu directly transformed into Luffy and started eating exaggeratedly. While eating, I didn't forget to comment, "Damn, this prawn is so delicious, I want to kidnap this chef away and cook it for me alone in the future, ah. This duck leg is so delicious. Are there any special seasonings added?" The variety of seafood here is much greater than that of the Whitebeard pirates. Yiyu's mouth was filled with food, and he was talking to himself while eating. Just like this, after having a full meal, it was already noon. The Marines finished their training and came to the cafeteria. They rushed in and started devouring the food. Yiyu was a little confused this whole time. He originally thought that when the Marines found him as a pirate in the cafeteria, they would fight again. Unexpectedly, I was directly ignored. This is actually no wonder Marine, mainly because Yiyu doesn't feel like a strong person, but looks like a recruit who just joined Marine. Hey, recruit, you were just selected into the Marine headquarters yesterday, right? If you don't wear military uniform, if you are seen by the superiors, you will be severely punished. A veteran said to Yiyu. Yiyu was even funnier. I'll go back to the dormitory and change into my military uniform. Yiyu didn't intend to cause trouble. He just wanted to quietly enjoy this life of eating and drinking. Yiyu chuckled, opened his search fruit, searched for nearby dormitories, chose a single room, and fell down on the bed. Well, this dormitory is pretty good. The windows are facing the sun. After stretching, Yiyu went to sleep without thinking about anything. I have passive absolute defense, no one can hurt me even when I am sleeping. Cover your head with a quilt and sleep. Until his phone rang. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Who is this? Delaying my beauty sleep, I was woken up by the phone, and Yi looked angry when I got up. Just after the call was connected, the praises of the Whitebeard pirates rushed to Yi's face. Captain Yi, you are too strong. I didn't expect that you would wipe out the Blackbeard pirates so quickly. Awesome. Marco said while dancing with the Whitebeard pirates. Yeah, I saw Blackbeard's miserable scene in the newspaper. It's so refreshing. Diamond Josie also said excitedly. Ha ha ha. You are worthy of being the captain of Division 0. I would like to thank you on behalf of Ace and Sachi. Bista also expressed admiration. Then Whitebeard's hearty voice came from behind, Go, don't delay my chat with Yi. Whitebeard snatched the phone bug away. Hey, little Yeyu, you are on your way back now. I'll help you catch the wind and wash away the dust. It turns out that the Whitebeard pirates also received the newspaper from the messenger seagull at noon. After seeing the report of Yi annihilating the Blackbeard pirates, the entire Whitebeard pirates jumped up with excitement, and they all rushed to talk to Yi on the phone. Yi also realized that his deeds were actually photographed. In the world of pirates, the only one who can do this is the World Economy News Agency. I haven't gone back yet, Dad. I found that the food in Marine is really good. I'm eating and sleeping on the Marine warship now. Yi said with a smile. What? You just killed Blackbeard and now you're going to mess with Marine? Hey, kid, don't be too arrogant and come back quickly. Marine will probably arrest you after knowing your news. Whitebeard said anxiously. Don't worry, old man, I'm sensible. I'll go back soon after eating and drinking here, After saying that, Yi hung up the phone directly. You kid must be back soon. Before he finished speaking, there was only the busy tone of the phone. Whitebeard kept shaking his head helplessly. This Yi was good at everything, but he was too salty. He could only think about playing, eating or sleeping all day long. The world is so big that eating, drinking, playing and sleeping are not important. I can't control it anymore. After all, Conquerors was on par with me 10 years ago. After hanging up the phone, Yi continued to get more beauty sleep and slept until lunchtime. Wake up naturally when it's time to eat. It's dinner time again, The food here is pretty good, but there are no TV bugs or game consoles, so it's still a bit boring. When we arrived at the cafeteria, the Marines were still running around and had to wait until 6 p.m. for dinner. After the running exercise, the Marines rushed to the cafeteria. This time, Yi was no longer sleepy and simply stayed aside, boredly listening to the Marines' daily chatter. It was all trivial things in the beginning, like Marines training is so crazy, that Gaia Kainu is so annoying, how to cure seasickness. This time, no officer reminded him that he was not wearing a military uniform. Yi was also amused on the sidelines. Anyway, he didn't have a TV or game console. It felt good to learn about Marines' daily life and satisfy his curiosity. It wasn't until he heard the word Ace from a Marine with the rank of Colonel that Yi's eyes lit up and he came to the Colonel's side. That's right, it won't be long before Ace's execution date is announced. At this time, the Whitebeard pirates will definitely come out in force, and what we Marine have to do is to annihilate them all. But, in this case, our Marines will also pay a heavy price, asked a Marine next to him with the title of Lieutenant Colonel. The senior colonel on the side was silent for a while, looking up at the direction of the warship sailing. So, our mission this time is very important. We must invite Shichibukai Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo. Let the powerful force of their Shichibukai take the lead. The lieutenant colonel on the side finally understood. I heard that Doflamingo is quite arrogant. Don't conflict with him when you get to Dressrosa. During this critical period, just let those Shichibukai go. Hearing this, Yi finally understood. It turned out that the ship he was on was sent by Marine headquarters to specially invite Shichibukai Doflamingo to discuss dealing with Whitebeard. How could you let Marine complete the task so smoothly even if you came here yourself? Since you Marine want Doflamingo to join your Marine, then I, Yu, want him to join my side. Turn on your search ability and find that there is still one night left before reaching Dressrosa. Forget it, I'll just stay on this warship for one more night and go to Dressrosa tomorrow to meet that heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo. It would be fine if Doflamingo knew the time and joined the Whitebeard pirates. If he didn't agree, Yu wouldn't mind and let Doflamingo, the celestial dragon, evaporate from this world. After eating, feeling really bored, Yu returned to his previous dormitory. In the evening, a Marine with the title of Major on his shoulder came to the dormitory and scolded Yu. "Where did you come from, recruit? This is Major's dormitory. It's too undisciplined. I'll punish you by running 10 kilometers back and forth." Major Marine said to Yu in a commanding tone. Yu glared at the Major, who had great authority. The Major, who had been very arrogant just now became extremely frightened. "I just feel like I'm carrying a huge mountain on my back, my body is so stiff that I can't move at all." His eyes rolled back, and the corners of his mouth kept trembling. This is Conqueror's. "Who are you?" As soon as he finished speaking, he fell to the ground and fainted. He wouldn't wake up for 2 or 3 days. Yu still looked like a salty fish, and said to the Major who was lying on the ground, "I'm sorry, I will lend you the dormitory, and the bed will be mine. You can just make do with it on the ground for now." Report, Lieutenant General Bastiu, Dressrosa has arrived. After a good night's sleep, Yu stretched out and climbed out of bed. He finally arrived at Dressrosa. "Is this ship's Supreme Commander, Lieutenant General Bastiu?" In my impression, the Lieutenant General who followed Fujitora to Dressrosa had long reddish-brown hair, wore a horn mask with many holes, was tall, and used a long-handled saw blade. But he was a useless guy. In Dressrosa, he was easily killed by Sabo. The entire Marine unit lined up on the deck and began to count. "Major Benj, Major Benj." Lieutenant General Bastiu repeated several times, with anger already on his face. "Don't you know that this is a critical period? You haven't gotten up yet. Someone, please pour water on Major Benj to wake him up and bring him here. The guy who unfortunately was knocked unconscious by his own conquerors must be Major Benj." "No need, water won't wake you up." A faint voice came. The surrounding Marines were looking for the source of the sound. Which Marine did not want to live and dared to say such words in front of Lieutenant General Bastiu? Finally, everyone's eyes fell on a young man wearing casual clothes. Yu dragged himself, and under the gaze of everyone, he came step by step to Lieutenant General Bastiu. "I said, Bastiu, it's not that Major Benj didn't remember that he was knocked unconscious by my conquerors. I'm afraid he won't be able to get up for 3 or 4 days." Yu smiled evilly at Lieutenant General Bastiu. Said, "Originally I wanted to knock you all out, but since your cooking is so delicious, I will let you go. You go away quickly. Doflamingo will be handed over to our Whitebeard pirates." Yu said lightly, as if he was saying something natural. The surrounding Marines were all in a state of confusion. The Whitebeard pirates. So what this young man means is, that he is a member of the Whitebeard pirates. What a stupid guy. He just announced his family name. I wonder if Marine is preparing to take action against the Whitebeard pirates. Why do I feel that this young man is so arrogant? Shouldn't you be concerned about how this kid got in? The surrounding Marines were all talking to Yu. Lieutenant General Bastiu was filled with anger as he was told what to do by a boy who called himself the Whitebeard pirates. When did Marine's majesty become so unbearable? How dare a little pirate from the 4 emperors speak like this to the Lieutenant General of Marine headquarters? Boy, you are too arrogant. How can you trample on Marine's majesty and justice like this? You kid who doesn't know the bounds of heaven and earth, I will make you regret joining the Whitebeard pirates. After saying that, Lieutenant General Bastiu took out the shark sword in his hand and slashed at Yi Yu's head. Look, Lieutenant General Bastiu is angry. This pirate is going to be executed on the spot. Oh, poor boy, Lieutenant General Bastiu has a bad temper. If you make him angry, your life will be at risk. I don't think this kid is 20 years old yet. What kind of pirate is he? This is great. He died at a young age. If you ask me, a pirate like this deserves to die. The surrounding Marines looked at Yi Yu, a careless young man, as if they were looking at another corpse. Some people who were close even took 2 steps back, fearing that Yi Yu's blood would splash on them, which would be bad luck. The next moment, the Marines who had been chirping just now shut their mouths, and the entire warship atmosphere was silent. Bastiu's shark-cutting sword was actually 1 meter away from Yi Yu, unable to move any further. Bastiu looked confused, and the face that took off the mask looked confused. Are you kidding? What kind of devil fruit ability is this? A barrier fruit? After saying that, Lieutenant General Bastiu continued to increase his strength. Taking advantage of his big body and strong strength, the shark sword advanced by a millimeter. But Bastiu's face was already showing huge beads of sweat, and his hands holding the shark sword began to tremble extremely. You are still too weak, Bastiu. Yi Yu said lightly. At this time, Lieutenant General Bastiu discovered that the young man in front of him was not as strong as he had imagined. Asshole, what are you guys doing? He's the only one, let's go together. This man is from the Whitebeard pirates. If you kill him, there will be a heavy reward. Bastiu roared loudly. Only then did the surrounding Marines react from the shock. As a soldier at the Marine headquarters, he was very capable of executing orders. Although he was afraid of Yi Yu, he still rushed towards Yi Yu with the saber in his hand. Pang! Pang! The soldiers with guns also stood on the spot, aiming their guns at Yi Yu's vital parts to attack. What made Yi Yu even more speechless was that 2 soldiers actually picked up rocket launchers and blasted them at him. Really, these Marines are not afraid of accidentally injuring their teammates? Yi Yu rolled his eyes. I said, Lieutenant General Bastiu, I have been very polite to you, is it not good for you to treat me like this? Also, do you really think you can win just because of your numbers? Yi Yu said with a smile to Lieutenant General Bastiu. This smile made Lieutenant General Bastiu feel a little strange. Feeling Yi Yu's smile, Lieutenant General Bastiu also began to doubt himself. Could it be that the large number of people really couldn't subdue the young man in front of him? For Yi Yu, he controls the most powerful conquerors in the pirate world. The number of enemies does not mean much to him. Buzz. In an instant, Yi Yu's body burst out with extremely majestic Conqueror's domineering energy, sweeping towards the surroundings like a flood. Marine, who had just looked like a wolf pouncing on food with a big knife in his hand, fell straight to the deck in an instant, knocking out several of his teeth. Those long-range soldiers holding firearms and rocket launchers collapsed directly to the ground, their eyes turned white and they foamed at the mouth. All the Marines on the Marine warship, except Lieutenant General Bastiu, fell to the ground, swaying in a mess. Although Lieutenant General Bastiu did not faint, he was not much better. His body seemed to be filled with lead and he could not move at all. There was a strong sense of fear in my heart for no reason. There was severe pain in his head, and he wanted to fall to the ground all the time. At this time, Lieutenant General Bastiu was relying entirely on his own willpower to support his body. You, who are you? When did the Whitebeard pirates create such a terrifying guy? There's no way I don't know. Base Lieutenant General Tu said with trembling lips. Didn't I tell you, Lieutenant General Bastiu, that I am a member of the Whitebeard pirates? It's normal that you don't know me. After all, I am the captain of the Zero Division who has never shown up before. He raised his face slightly and said calmly. Captain Zero. I received the news yesterday that the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates Zero Division annihilated the Blackbeard Pirates. Is it true? Regarding the Whitebeard Pirates, there is a captain of Division Zero, who is said to be very powerful. I heard this mentioned in a meeting with Marine's upper management. However, I didn't believe it at all and thought it was just false information. There really was a captain of Division Zero. Why wasn't there a reward order? Even 10 years later, I haven't even seen a shadow of him. But, now, I completely believe that the young man in front of me is definitely capable of becoming the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Let's put it this way. It is very possible for the Blackbeard Pirates who defeated Fire Fist Ace to be completely wiped out. Darling, what a terrifying guy I have met. Looking at Lieutenant General Bastiu kneeling in front of him, Yi Yu smiled again. This Bastiu must be about the same strength as the Buffalo Atmos of the Whitebeard Pirates. But I can test my progress over the past few days. Therefore, the shameless Yi Yu just didn't use Conqueror's transformation and advanced attack methods like Shinra Tianjing. Instead, relying on one's own thoughts, simply releasing the invisible Conquerors, finally. Lieutenant General Bastiu used up the last bit of his will to resist. His eyes turned white, he foamed at the mouth, and his huge body fell heavily on the deck of the marine warship. After finishing, Yi Yu looked around with satisfaction. This was quite worry-free. If he encounters a marine warship in the future, he can directly go up and release a Conquerors, and he's done. After defeating Lieutenant General Bastiu, Yi Yu's Conquerors panel once again gained dozens of Conquerors points. Although it was not as many as the Conquerors obtained by killing a guy like Blackbeard, he succeeded in making his Conquerors exceed 5,400 points. Yi Yu was still very satisfied. I closed my eyes and felt it, and the Conquerors in my body became more abundant. Let's go, Dressrosa, meet Heavenly Yiksha. I heard that the red wine in Dressrosa is good, you can try it. Yi Yu said lightly with a smile on his lips. After saying that, Yi Yu walked directly towards Conquerors and slowly landed in Dressrosa. As soon as Yi Yu landed, a boy with beta teeth came over. He had white stockings on his legs and high heels. He looked very perverted. It was Dillinger, one of the cadres of the Don Quixote family. Hey, you are the one from Marine that the young master mentioned, right? Why do you want to come to our king this time? Dillinger asked in a sissy tone. It can be seen that Dillinger is not afraid of Marine. Yi Yu stared at Dillinger with squinted eyes. Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo, it seems that he is not as arrogant as usual. Why does it mean that when Lieutenant General Marine comes, he must send a top cadre to greet him? This is good, the last member of the Don Quixote family is used to send Marine away. Maybe Heavenly Yiksha sent a sissy on purpose, and it's not impossible that he disgusted Marine. However, Yi Yu is too lazy to bother. If he goes to see Doflamingo rashly, he doesn't know how many fights there will be. If I was mistaken for Marine, wouldn't it be better to have a Dillinger brother to lead the way? Yi Yu smiled slightly. I came here this time on the orders of Marine Fleet Admiral Sengoku to invite Shichibukai Doflamingo to participate in the battle against the Whitebeard Pirates. Dillinger nodded. It seemed that even Marine had to beg his young master. Sure enough, strength is the only law in this world. Dillinger looked at Yi Yu carefully, with a trace of doubt in his heart. Hey, why don't I remember you, Marine? Yi Yu slowly got on the toy carriage prepared by Dillinger. He continued to smile at Dillinger, it's nothing. Lieutenant General Bastiu has other things to deal with. I'm just a major general and it's normal that you don't recognize me. Dillinger was dissatisfied. Marine came to beg his young master, but he dared to send only one major general. After a while, his young master will definitely make this major general feel the pressure. There was no doubt about Yi Yu Marine's identity. In this way, Yi Yu lay down on the toy car, and accompanied by everyone, he drove straight to Doflamingo's palace without any hindrance. Looking at the palace in front of him, Yi Yu admitted that he was envious. It was much more luxurious than his villa in the restricted area of the Whitebeard pirates. The Joker in the underground arms market was indeed, not an ordinary rich man. Just wait here, I'll go in and inform the young master. Dillinger stopped the toy carriage, said to Yi Yu, and left here. Yi Yu couldn't help but feel funny, he didn't need a mere half-beta to tell him where to go. Since Dillinger brought him here to save a lot of trouble, Dillinger is of little use. Yi Yu got off the toy carriage and walked towards Doflamingo's palace. Yi Yu was eager to taste Dressrosa's delicacies. This palace represents the most gorgeous palace in Dressrosa, and the food inside is, needless to say, the most delicious in the country. Hey, let me tell you, you are just a mere Major General Marine, so don't be rude. Blind your eyes, this is Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo's place, you are not allowed to go in unless I inform you. Dillinger has long disliked this Yi Yu, but now this Yi Yu is so rude. It's just a mere Doflamingo. I don't think there's any need to report it. For a weakling like Dillinger, Yi Yu simply chose to ignore it. What? Dillinger looked confused. I didn't expect that a mere marine could be so rude. How dare you comment on your young master like this? What is a mere Doflamingo? This is simply unforgivable. He immediately began to transform, the muscles all over his body began to swell, and his clothes were torn to pieces. A shark fin actually grew out of his back, and his eyes were red, staring at Yi Yu angrily. Yi Yu chose to ignore this weakling and still strode towards Doflamingo's palace. Idiots who don't eat and drink as a penalty, this is Dressrosa. After saying that, Dillinger appeared as a phantom, flew up quickly, raised the heel of his high-heeled shoes, and aimed at Yi Yu, preparing to kill him. It's just a weakling. Yi Yu said lightly, without even looking at Dillinger, but just released a little bit of domineering, and Dillinger plopped, tilted his head, and stirred up a lot of dust. At this time, the Joker, who was wearing a pink feather coat in the palace, had crossed his legs just now, drinking red wine and taunting Marine. He looked arrogant, and the next moment he suddenly sat upright. What's wrong, young master, is Marine here? Even if it's Lieutenant General Marine, you shouldn't react like this. Toribol, the top cadre representing Plum Blossoms, asked suspiciously with a runny nose. Diamante, holding a soft sword in his hand and wearing strange iron clothes, slowly walked over. Did General Marine come to invite you personally, Dover? Ha ha ha. It seems that Marine values us very much. General, Marine and the others have finally learned their lesson, haha. Pika, a strong man wearing samurai armor, said in a high-pitched voice. Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo, the veins on his forehead are slightly bulging. Under the burgundy sunglasses, his eyes kept turning left and right. It's not like a general, I just felt Conquerors. Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo said in surprise. Conquerors? The top officials around them looked surprised. Aren't there only a few people in this world who know Conquerors? There are even fewer Marines who meet Conquerors. Could it be that the Sengoku Fleet Admiral came in person? But, it's impossible. Sengoku Fleet Admiral, are you planning to deal with the Whitebeard pirates right now? What are you doing in Dressrosa? The Conqueror's location just now is at the main entrance of our palace. Come on, open the main entrance, and let's go and see what's going on. Even a highly intelligent pirate like Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo can't figure out who released the Conquerors at his doorstep. The only way is to hit the gate of opening and see for yourself who it is. At the moment of the gate of opening, Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo and his top cadres all opened their mouths in surprise. Torbal's nose was running. Dover, look, it's Dellinger. Was he beaten to the ground by this man? Idiot Marine, this is Dressrosa. Even if you are from Marine headquarters, we will not let you go. Pika said in a high-pitched voice. Just waiting for the order from his young master Doflamingo, he was ready to transform into a giant stone man and give Yi Yu a terrifying blow. Don Quixote Doflamingo's veins popped up on his face, he squinted his eyes and fixed his gaze on Yu, and spoke slowly. "You bastard, you are not Marine, you are the captain of the 0 Division of the Whitebeard Pirates?" Doflamingo's eyes were fixed on Yu and he spoke slowly. "Yesterday, the Don Quixote family just received the news that Yu had killed the Blackbeard pirates. Unexpectedly, this newcomer to the sea would come to their territory so soon. And, there is no need to doubt it, the Conqueror's just released was released by the boy in front of me. Damn it!" Doflamingo clenched his fist tightly. "We don't need so many Conqueror's owners in this ocean. For the newbies who own Conquerors, Brother Ming is naturally conflicted in his heart. It seems that you have also received my message, Doflamingo." Yu smiled faintly. When they heard that the person in front of them was the captain of Division 0, the top officials looked slightly sideways. "Dover, you mean, he was the hero of yesterday's newspaper?" Diamante said in surprise. "That's right, the guy in the newspaper looks similar to him. The place where Blackbeard was wiped out is not too far from Dressrosa, and he just released the Conquerors." Doflamingo's sunglasses flashed with a white light and he said seriously. "Ignoring everyone's surprised looks, after so many days, I have become accustomed to being shocked by the people around me. Okay, the politeness is over. As a host, where is your hospitality? I heard that the wine in Dressrosa is good. Bring it to me quickly." Yu said unceremoniously. "I haven't had lunch today and I'm always hungry. I just want to enjoy myself on Heavenly Yiksha's territory." After saying that, Yu walked directly to Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo's palace in front of everyone. This makes Brother Ming very embarrassed. The younger brother on the side was already cursing. Pika was furious and started to raise a high-pitched voice to Yu, "Asshole, Yu, you just killed a new Shichibukai, but you are so rude to our Don Quixote family." Diamante also held her soft sword tightly and spoke to Doflamingo on the side, "Dover, this kid is so rude, let's kill him on the spot and give him to Marine." And Torbol was already ready to attack. The top cadre of the Don Quixote family is not very optimistic about the strength of Blackbeard, who has recently been promoted to Shichibukai. He even thought that the successful capture of Ace was just because the Blackbeard pirates were bullying the smaller ones. Therefore, Yiyu's strength is not much better. If the Don Quixote family comes together, they firmly believe that they can kill Yiyu. It's just that the cunning Doflamingo is still thinking about it. Captain Zero of the world's most powerful pirate group has completely annihilated the Blackbeard pirates. He has Conqueror's ability. The strength of the boy in front of him is difficult to fathom. Just as he was hesitating, overwhelming pressure suddenly hit him, and Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo's sunglasses shattered on the spot. This terrifying feeling. Heavenly Yiksha's eyes were locked on Yiyu's body, yes. It was released by the young man in front of him who seemed to have no fighting ability. Doflamingo hurriedly started his own conquerors to resist, but with little success. In front of Yiyu's majestic and rich conquerors, Doflamingo's conquerors was like a baby. The only function is to relieve the feeling of terror deep in my heart and stop my hands from shaking so much. Doflamingo was shocked in his heart, conquerors, can be so strong. How could I, who owns conquerors, be suppressed like this by the kid in front of me? Isn't conquerors used to clean up trash fish? How could it work on me? It seems that my understanding of conquerors is still very shallow. Yiyu's existence actually made Heavenly Yiksha, who had always been arrogant and domineering, start to feel ashamed of herself. Heavenly Yiksha is like this, and the cadres on the side are even more embarrassed. Torbol struggled for a moment, then passed out directly on the ground, with a large pool of mucus flowing out on the ground, which was very ugly. Diamante, the arena champion, fell into a wine vat, head down and feet up, in a very embarrassed state. Only Pika persisted for a while, but finally fell down. The pirate guards on the side fell to pieces. From their expressions, you can still see the complicated expressions before they fainted, including unwillingness, shock, confusion and deep fear. At this point, all the pirates around Don Quixote's Doflamingo Palace were knocked down. "Hey, let me tell you, Dover, your men are really noisy, I want them to rest," Yi Yu said expressionlessly. After stopping Conqueror's release, Yi Yu walked straight past Doflamingo and walked into Doflamingo's palace. Heavenly Yiksha on the side is still panting. Conqueror's release is finally over. This gave Don Quixote Doflamingo a feeling of relief. "Who are you, kid? Your Conqueror's is even better than Whitebeard." Don Quixote Doflamingo calmed down his emotions and roared at Yi Yu. At this time, Yi Yu was already unceremonious, sitting on the throne of King Dressrosa, and began to taste the delicious food. Chewing the food in his mouth, he took a bottle of wine and muttered, "Well, didn't I tell you, I am the captain of the 0 Division of the Whitebeard Pirates." "Impossible, your Conqueror's is above Whitebeard, I can still feel this." Heavenly Yiksha stared at the young man in front of her seriously and said seriously, "When I first entered the New World in my early years, I also experienced 4 Emperor's-level Conquerors such as Whitebeard and Kaido. Even if he is as strong as the strongest man like Whitebeard, Conqueror's is not as powerful as the young man in front of him. Maybe, this boy is stronger than Whitebeard. With such achievements at such a young age, how could he just be the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates?" Yi Yu waved his hand and said, "What's so surprising about this? I joined the Whitebeard Pirates just to eat and drink. Besides, I only know Conqueror's, knowledge, and armed skills. You don't know the color of seeing, hearing, or the color of weapons." After hearing this key information, Brother Ming narrowed his eyes and began to make small calculations in his heart. Noticing Doflamingo's abnormality, Yi Yu smiled slightly. "Let me remind you, Heavenly Yiksha, the last time Blackbeard attacked me because he heard that I didn't know how to be armed and had sex, I was seriously dead. It's ugly." Doflamingo was a little embarrassed to have someone read his mind. After thinking for a moment, the silk thread that had been sent out in his hand was slowly withdrawn into his body. "Stop standing there stupidly. I know that as a king, you must have your own private collection of wine. Bring it to me quickly. Don't be so stingy." Looking at Doflamingo who was standing stupidly, Yi Yu greeted him directly. Compared to Doflamingo, Yi Yu is more concerned about food and drink for himself at the moment. As a Doflamingo who awakened Conquerors at the age of 8 and has a powerful talent that even Kaido of the 4 Emperors has always praised. At this moment, there is absolutely nothing he can do against this guy Yi Yu. "Call someone. The top cadres of my family were stunned by the little Conquerors." No matter how many people were called, wouldn't it be enough for just one Conquerors? "Fight him yourself. It seems that I can't beat it. Blackbeard teach, his subordinates don't know, but he knows better, that guy is not weak." "You, what is your purpose here?" asked an aggrieved Doflamingo. "I'm here to discuss a business deal with you." Yi Yu spread his hands and urged Brother Ming to get the wine quickly. Doflamingo actually breathed a sigh of relief when he heard about the business discussion. Fortunately, if the kid in front of him came to destroy the Don Quixote family, Brother Ming felt that Yi Yu was fully capable of doing it. Doflamingo sat directly opposite Yi Yu and snapped his fingers. After a while, a maid as sexy as Baby 5 came to Mingu. "Go, bring up all the fine wines that I have the highest collection of." Doflamingo gritted his teeth and said with pain. The beautiful woman served and looked around. The top cadres were all stunned. Although they were very surprised in their hearts, they did not show it. This is also the rule of the Don Quixote family. As a servant, you only need to carry out orders. If you meddle in other people's business, you will be executed. Yes, young master. After saying that, the beauty stood up directly. When she came back again, she took out a box of wine. Yi Yu opened a bottle casually, and paired it with the unique foie gras. He couldn't help but praise, "It's really good, Heavenly Yiksha, your life here is much more enjoyable than other places. Doflamingo got angry when he saw Yi Yu's careless behavior, but with his strength there, he had no choice but to endure it. Doflamingo has bulging veins. Come on, what kind of business is this? Let's talk about business. If we don't agree, all my men will be stunned by you. Doflamingo, now like an angry woman, no longer as arrogant as before. After Brother Ming said this, Yi Yu felt that he seemed to be a little too much. I made a mistake for a moment, don't worry, I am still measured. It won't be long before your men will wake up automatically. Yi Yu waved his hand and said. He told Doflamingo his purpose. I think with your Heavenly Yiksha intelligence network, you have also felt it. Since Ace was captured, the atmosphere in the entire sea has been very subtle. There is likely to be a big battle between Marine and the Whitebeard pirates in the future. Heavenly Yiksha regained some face and began to regain some confidence. Fufufu, Heavenly Yiksha naturally knows this. That warship in Dressrosa originally invited me to gather at the Marine headquarters to deal with Whitebeard, right? Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo rolled his eyes and said with a smile. Yi Yu is still very optimistic about Doflamingo, he is a smart man. Before he even said it, others had already guessed it. That's right, the purpose of my visit this time is to tell you not to assist Marine, but to follow our Whitebeard pirates to attack Marine's headquarters. Yi Yu said while holding the chicken legs and eating them. This was beyond Doflamingo's expectation. He originally thought that Yi Yu came here this time just to not help Marine and to remain neutral. Now, let yourself join the Whitebeard pirates. If he really follows Yi Yu's instructions, Marine will not let him go when the war is over. Yi Yu, I think you are joking. Marine is the overlord of this sea, and I have no reason to be an enemy of it. Doflamingo said decisively. Even if Yi Yu threatens the entire Dressrosa, he will not agree to it. There may be a chance to win against Yi Yu, but against Marine, you will definitely lose. As Yi Yu expected, Doflamingo, an old fox, was not so easy to win over. What if I say that the final winner will be our Whitebeard pirates? Yi Yu said without doubt. Fufu Yi Yu, although you are very powerful, I admit this, but Marine is even more powerful than you. It is impossible for you and the Whitebeard pirates to join me. Victorious. Doflamingo said, shaking his head. I will prove this to you. All you have to do is speed up the victory time of our Whitebeard pirates and reduce casualties for our Whitebeard pirates. Yi Yu said confidently with the corners of his mouth raised slightly. A plan has emerged in my heart, a plan for the Whitebeard pirates to overthrow Marine with the fewest casualties. Okay, if your Whitebeard pirates are a strong party, I will be happy to help the strong. After all, I am on the side of justice. Only the victorious party can talk about justice. Isn't it? Doflamingo licked his lips, said meaningfully. The meaning is obvious, I only contribute to the winner. Yi Yu's face slightly raised, he is indeed a cunning guy, Doflamingo. However, Doflamingo suddenly changed the subject. It's just. I'm really curious, why do you prove to me that your Whitebeard pirates are stronger than Marine? It won't be by yourself, right? Doflamingo locked eyes with the young man in front of him and narrowed his eyes. He closed his eyes and said suspiciously. Yi Yu took a sip of red wine and said, well, this wine is good. Then he locked his eyes on Doflamingo, his eyes became serious, and he solemnly spoke to Doflamingo, I will first end the life of a Marine general to prove my own strength. Killing the general is only the first step to prove my strength. You will feel the rest of the proof in the following war. After Yi Yu finished speaking, he showed a confident expression. Buzz. Doflamingo felt his head was a little dazed. What? Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo couldn't believe what Yi Yu said. This seemingly harmless guy wanted to kill a Marine general at such a critical moment. The Marine headquarters is heavily defended, how to kill it? That's a general. Any one of them is a strong marine guarding a sea area. He didn't have any sense of knowledge or weaponry, but just relied on conquerors to kill a general. Does Yi Yu have such strength? Doflamingo looked at Yi Yu in front of him with shocked eyes. This guy really dared to say anything. But Yi Yu's extremely confident expression made Brother Ming still feel a little shaken in his heart. Could it be that this recently famous guy in the sea can really easily kill a marine general? That means that Yi Yu must at least have the perverted strength of Kaido. Emperor level. Just reaching the imperial level with conquerors alone. The key is, that's only the first step. You can really do it? Doflamingo asked suspiciously. You'll find out soon enough if you can do it. I hope you're a smart man, Doflamingo. You have to be on the opposite side of this war. Otherwise, whether the Don Quixote family will exist in this world in the future is a question. Yi Yu said lightly, but his tone could not be questioned. I'm still quite skeptical, I don't know. Doflamingo hesitated. Speak directly. Yi Yu was already a little impatient. If it weren't for the fear that the Whitebeard pirates would suffer casualties in the battle, he wouldn't want to win over others. Do you think I can test your strength? Doflamingo said carefully. After hearing this, Yi Yu felt a little funny inside. Heavenly Yiksha, Doflamingo, is indeed an out-and-out businessman. However, I do not reject smart businessmen. Okay, but don't go to so much trouble. Just use your strongest attack, Joker. Yi Yu said lightly without even looking at Brother Ming. Are you afraid of trouble, so you just use your ultimate move? This kid is really arrogant. Looking at Yi Yu, who was still tasting the food and didn't make any defensive moves, Doflamingo's eyes turned cold. Then I won't be polite. Brother Ming directly released his devil fruit ability, and the floor under his feet turned into silk threads. The white threads surged like a wave and gradually spread around. The area with a radius of 1 kilometer all became Brother Ming's weapons. Finally, these threads gathered together to form 16 powerful forces. Coupled with Brother Ming's armed color, the 16 strands gathered together to form a behemoth. Like black carbon, reflecting dark light under the sunlight. A strong fighting spirit instantly filled the entire villa. This is my strongest attack, please teach me. 16 bullets of holy bullets, God thread. Doflamingo tilted his mouth and directly released the trick he was proud of. I believe Yi Yu will be surprised when faced with his final move. 16 vicious bullets, like pitch-black pillars, were fired at Yi Yu in unison, like the fangs of the beast with its big mouth, trying to tear Yi Yu into pieces. And like the ferocious Shinigami, trying to take Yi Yu away. This world. Extremely fast. In an instant, he was in front of Yi Yu. Yi Yu remained motionless, eating his food at the dinner table. What an arrogant kid. Heavenly Yiksha, Doflamingo's veins are bulging, and the attacks are coming right in front of you, but you still don't dodge. That's a bit too much. The attacks keep approaching Yi Yu. 5 meters. 4 meters. 3 meters. 2 meters. Doflamingo is a little confused. This kid wants to die. Getting closer and closer, only 1 meter away. 1 meter. Boom. The 16 black pillars seemed to have hit something extremely hard. There was a huge muffled sound that shook the entire Dressrosa. Immediately afterwards, the dark pillars that were straight and firm just now were all transformed into prototypes, turning into broken white lines, floating around. When these white lines fell within 1 meter of Yi Yu, they were blocked by something and could not move. That thing resisted my attack. Doflamingo's eyes flashed and he asked suspiciously. Barrier fruit. Open up your own knowledge and experience. Brother Ming showed extremely shocked eyes, his lips began to tremble, he pointed at Yi Yu and murmured, this can't be. Conquerors, right? From the beginning to the end, Yi Yu didn't even raise his head, and kept eating his own food. That's right, conquerors. Yi Yu said lightly. Snoring. Doflamingo swallowed his saliva crazily. He still knew something about the advanced use of conquerors. He couldn't become an emperor-level powerhouse because he didn't know the advanced use of conquerors' entanglement. However, the kid in front of him still has more control over conquerors than conquerors' entanglement. Genius, monster, devil. So many words appeared in Doflamingo's mind in an instant. Now Brother Ming has begun to believe it, but his true nature as a businessman has also been revealed. You said you were talking to me about business. What would be the benefits if I joined your Whitebeard pirates? Doflamingo, a businessman, asked carefully. Yi Yu smiled slightly. He was indeed a cunning guy, but this also showed that Brother Ming had initially recognized his own strength. After the war is won, some countries will definitely declare their belonging to our Whitebeard pirates under the protection of our Whitebeard pirates. I can give you the taxes of 3 countries. Taxes from 3 countries? Doflamingo was moved and showed excited eyes. After all the hard work, he only gained 1 country, Dressrosa, and Yi Yu actually asked for the taxes from 3 countries. But, Dover, please listen carefully. Don't play tricks on other countries. What you get is only money, and the management rights do not belong to you. Also, you have, to protect these 3 countries, the obligation not to be violated by other pirates. Yi Yu reminded. This is not difficult for Doflamingo. Even without the right to rule, the taxes from 3 countries alone are enough to double the size of his business. I am just responsible for protection, so it is not a difficult task. With my Don Quixote family here, no little pirate dares to do harm to these countries. Moreover, Doflamingo has decided that in order to stabilize the country and obtain more taxes, he will clean up the pirates, bandits, and other people who are harmful to the development of the country in these 3 countries. Fu. I am really yours, Yi Yu. I look forward to your proof of strength. Let's cheer. From the time Yi Yu appeared until now, Heavenly Yiksha finally showed a smile. Yi Yu also smiled faintly. Cheers. Yi Yu also picked up the wine glass and clinked it with Brother Ming. Swing. This glass of wine marks the initial conclusion of the agreement between Yohane and Shichibukai. The two agreed that if Yi Yu's strength is recognized by Heavenly Yiksha will directly betray him during the Dingshan War. Catch Marine off guard and play a mission, impossible game. If Yi Yu's strength is not as strong as Doflamingo imagined, then Doflamingo will continue to encircle and suppress the Whitebeard pirates during the war. No matter how you calculate it, Heavenly Yiksha will not suffer any loss. After eating and drinking, Yi Yu directly dialed the number of the Whitebeard pirates. I can't leave now. I suddenly thought of a plan. This plan will help us kidnap Ace in the battle and even win. This is what I thought about the plan. Yes, it is estimated that Ace's execution date will be announced soon. Time is running out, so I will leave Jinbei of Fishman Island to you. After hanging up the phone, Doflamingo looked at Yi Yu with interest and asked curiously, Aren't you afraid, if I tell Marine your plan? Yi Yu shook his head. Doflamingo, you are a smart man. I don't think you will betray me before you decide which camp to join. Yi Yu said with a smile. At this time, the top cadres of the Don Quixote family stood up one after another. Torpole, Pika, and Diamantite touched their heads, and they still felt some severe pain. Damn it, my head hurts so much, it feels like I've been hit hard. It hurts. What was that? Conquerors? This is my first time meeting such a powerful conquerors. The 3 of them looked shocked. As soon as they stood up, they saw Yi Yu from the front door, holding the dry red wine collected by the young master in his hand, looking at them with a smirk on his face. Pika was the first to roar, like a quarrel between girls. Damn you, you still dare to stay here and drink our young master's precious red wine? Our young master will definitely kill you. Idiot. Don't act rashly. Isn't that embarrassing enough? Came an angry voice. A figure appeared at the main entrance of the palace. Walking out step by step in a pink feather coat and pointed leather shoes, it was their owner, Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo. Young master. The three top cadres were collectively confused. His young master actually called him a fool for an outsider. And this outsider violated the Don Quixote family's taboo and dared to attack the cadres. Yi, you are our business partner now, don't be rude to Yi anymore. Doflamingo said, giving Yi full face. The three top cadres wanted to say something, but their masters had already made their stance clear and it was difficult to disobey, so they kept their mouths shut. Everyone bid farewell to Yi and came to the coast. They were shocked again when they saw all the marines who had passed out on the warship. Kill them? Doflamingo made a killing gesture. No need, in return for their delicious food and hospitality, let's spare their lives. Yi waved his hand. Lieutenant General Ichika plus some marines, for Yi, the combat effectiveness is negligible. Even if you don't kill them and let them return to the world headquarters, it will still be a matter for the conquerors to settle during the war. As for how to tell Marine, the smart Doflamingo naturally understands. He directly said that after Yi robbed Marine's warship, he also robbed supplies in Dressrosa and escaped, Marine would not be suspicious. In this way, Yi boarded the Marine headquarters warship and left Dressrosa with various arms, special medicines, food, wine, and several artificial devil fruits presented by Doflamingo. After Yi left, everyone was confused and asked Doflamingo, young master, why did you let him go? And gave them so many gifts. Even the special medicine and the artificial devil fruit were given to Yi got it. Doflamingo squinted his eyes and looked into the depths of the sea, foo. Family, a new era is coming soon, but you must stand in line. A new era. The cadres pondered one after another. Yes, that guy represents the new era. Don Quixote Doflaming said with expectation in his eyes. The war is about to begin. Yi remembers that in the anime, at this moment, the Sabaody Islands will send General Kizaru to encircle and suppress Supernova due to the Tianlong incident. I can use this opportunity to hack a general from Marine headquarters. Ding! Congratulations to the host for stunning Heavenly Yiksha Doflamingo, and rewarded Conqueror's 200 points. Congratulations to host for reaching an agreement with Shichibukai to reward Rockberry Fruit ability. Ignore the side effects of the sea. Now Conquerors has over 5,600 points. Also obtained a Rockberry Fruit. The trip to Dressrosa went very smoothly, next destination, Sabaody Islands. After turning on the search fruit, it is like turning on navigation. With the acceleration effect of Yi Conquerors, it won't take long to reach the Sabaody Islands. With a crash, Yi's warships were sailing at high speed all over. It had been 2 hours since we left Dressrosa, and the sun was shining on the deck, giving people a warm feeling. Yi stretched out and slept in the sun on the deck, which was more comfortable than in the marine dormitory. Buzz buzz. A huge ship roared. Yi frowned and activated his search ability. There was a pirate warship directly in front of him, forming a line and heading in the opposite direction to him. From the roaring sound and the huge mammoth bone pirate flag on the pirate ship, you can immediately recognize that this is Drought Jack's pirate ship. Really, Drought Jack, this idiot, is making too much noise. Speed up and leave. After saying that, Yi's warship veered slightly and accelerated. Drought Jack, who was on the mammoth pirate ship, also noticed Yi's warship. Drought Jack, with a ponytail and 2 braids, and ivory decorations on his head and shoulders, slowly opened his metal jaw. Marine warship. Give me the telescope. After saying that, he snatched the telescope from his subordinate Sip's head and looked at Yi. It's strange. There is only one person in casual clothes in the entire marine. Wait, that's... Drought Jack's expression became furious. It turns out that Drought Jack discovered that there were 3 boxes on the deck of Yi Yu's warship. They were the boxes specially made by Doflamingo to hold devil fruits, and they had a clown pattern printed on them. The number of artificial devil fruits is limited, and if you use one, you will lose one, which means that the Beast Pirates' army of ability Grantaires will be reduced. How can it be left to outsiders? Jean Lamy on the side also took out his binoculars and looked in the direction of Yi Yu, his red lips twitching slightly. Did that marine kid steal Doflamingo's artificial fruit? What should I do, boss? After Drought Jack heard this, he cursed Jinla for being a fool. What else can we do? Move the ship closer. Laozi will kill him with his own hands. Let the entire people on the warship turn into the dead souls of my Drought. Drought Jack's face was angry, blue veins protruded on his forehead, and he held his hands tightly. Shuttle knife. Who do you think Laozi is? How dare you steal something that belongs to our Beast's pirates? Under Jack's order, Jack's pirate ship accelerated towards Yi Yu's warship. Buzz buzz. The harsh sound sounded again. The mammoth actually kept approaching in the direction of Yi Yu. Yi Yu squinted his eyes. Ship King Jack seems to be targeting him. It's really troublesome. It seems that I have to exercise again so that there will be one less reckless man in this world. In the blink of an eye, the mammoth had arrived beside Yi Yu and was within the range of the artillery. Get closer. Fire. Drought Jack looked furious and directly ordered to fire. Yes. Master Jack. The pirates of the Beast Pirates turned their cannon heads one by one and pointed them directly at Yi Yu's warship. Boom. 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 Under Drought Jack's order, the mammoth fired cannonballs one after another. In an instant, dense shells appeared in the entire sky, making people's scalp numb just by looking at them. The roar was like thunder, resounding within a radius of several kilometers. The Nyen beasts on the surrounding islands were shocked and ran away in all directions. Yi Yu finally stood up slowly from the deck, squinting at the cannonballs in the sky with a look of disgust on his face. Jack, can't you just calm down for a while? It's too noisy. After saying that, Yi Yu directly activated the Conquerors in his body on his warship. The cannonballs in the sky all turned into duds one by one and fell into the sea one after another. Sip's head looked confused. All the shells fired just now misfired. How is that possible? Jean Lamy was also confused, not knowing what was going on. Asshole. Is that Marine a devil fruit user? Keep firing at me, I don't believe all the cannonballs will misfire. The deflated Jack was even more angry. Who was he? He was Drought Jack of the 4 Emperor's Beasts Pirates. To be fooled by a mere marine. The artillery crew was ordered to continue firing shells. However, not a single shell was fired on Drought Jack's ship. Asshole. You want to die? How dare you disobey my order? Drought Jack's eyes instantly turned cold. The surrounding pirates were frightened. This drought-stricken master had a very violent temper. If he was not satisfied at all, he might be ravaged to death by the drought punishment. Everyone was horrified and hurriedly explained. Report to Mr. Jack, all the artillery have been crushed by mysterious power. What? Drought Jack frowned and shouted angrily. All the artillery made of steel were crushed. This sounds really weird. Swinging his huge body, Drought Jack came to an artillery piece. See the scene in front of you. Drought Jack's pupils dilated instantly. It was just as his subordinate said. A heavy artillery made of steel and welded steel was suppressed by some mysterious force, as if it was made of plasticine. It was actually suppressed by some mysterious force. Feel free to knead it into a ball. Asshole. A mere marine dares to play tricks on me, who does he think Laozi is? Even if he is a marine general, Lousy is not afraid of it, just lean on the boat. Just go up and chop him. This made Jack even more furious. Under Jack's order, hook chains were thrown directly onto Yi Yu's marine warship. As Sipshead's horn blew, groups of pirates rushed towards Yi Yu's warship. The swarming group of pirates all arrived on Yi Yu's pirate ship in an instant. One by one, they looked at Yi Yu jokingly, as if they were dead people. Ha ha ha. Such a weakling marine, I thought he was some big shot. A pirate said sarcastically when he saw Yi Yu's salty appearance. It's strange. Looking at the size of this warship, it must be guarded by a lieutenant general. Is it just this kid? There is only one person. A giver with crab claws asked doubtfully. Who cares what they are doing? This kid has angered Mr. Jack. He will be nothing more than a corpse for a while. Sipshead said coldly while looking at Yi Yu. Ha ha ha, with his small body, he will probably die after being ravaged by Master Jack twice. Jean Lamy also laughed wildly. Obviously, Yi Yu at this moment has completely become the object of ridicule by this group of pirates. They are all thinking about the scene where Yi Yu is so scared that he wets his pants after seeing Lord Jack. The steel knife in Sipshead's hand reflected dazzling light under the sunlight, and there was a hint of joking in the corner of his mouth. Boy, once you meet Mr. Jack and kowtow a few times, I can plead for you and beg him to let you go. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. The surrounding pirates also laughed mockingly. While laughing, Drought Jack also came to Yi Yu's ship. The huge tonnage landed on Yi Yu's warship, and the entire warship actually trembled slightly. All the pirates gave way to Drought Jack. Drought Jack frowned tightly and stared at Yi Yu coldly with his dead fish eyes. Boy, are these devil fruits made by Smile Factory? How come they are in your hands? Drought Jack roared, with a ferocious look on his face. No comment. Yi Yu rolled his eyes at Drought Jack, with a trace of disdain on his lips. To Yi Yu, Drought Jack was just a fool, and he didn't even realize how powerful he was. Drought Jack should have fled for his life when he crushed the cannon on his ship into a pile of mud when he gave his first warning. A vein suddenly popped up on Drought Jack's forehead, and anger rose in his eyes. How dare a mere marine ignore him like this? Since you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Just execute him. Drought Jack's patience has reached its limit, and he is completely murderous towards Yi Yu. The surrounding pirates also opened their mouths in shock. I really don't know whether I should praise the boy in front of me for being fearless or call him ignorant. Don't you know who the big shot in front of you is? The person in front of me is one of the 3 major signs under Kaido of the Beast Pirates, Drought Jack. Even General Marine is not afraid of Drought Jack. How dare a mere marine talk to Lord Jack like this? There is no doubt that this reckless boy in front of him will definitely die at this moment. Sipshead, finish him off. Then take away the artificial devil fruit. Drought Jack said coldly, his eyes filled with bloodshot eyes. For a young marine who was still young, Jack felt that there was no need to take action personally. As you command, Lord Jack. Sipshead bowed like Drought Jack. Arriving in front of Yi Yu, Sipshead tilted his head and looked at Yi Yu, still with a joking look on his face. Let me think about what kind of death is suitable for you, haha. Ha 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 ha. Don't be so scared that you pee your pants. Sipshead's favorite thing is to scrape off the meat from weak chickens one by one and feed it to the sharks. Jean Lamy looked forward to it, curious for a while. Will you really be frightened and pee his pants? In the noisy atmosphere, Sipshead raised his katana above his head, fixed his eyes on Yi Yu, and slowly said, Die. Boy, it's your fault for angering the beast pirates. The bright katana slashed at Yi Yu, but when it was about to arrive, it was blocked by an invisible force. The surrounding pirates were slightly startled. It seemed that this boy had some strength. Sipshead exerted his greatest strength, but the saber in his hand was still not even 1 centimeter away. He was unable to move it at all, but his face turned red. Ha ha ha, idiot Sip's head, can you do it? Even a marine can't solve it. If you can't, let me do it. Kim Rummy on the side said mockingly to Sip's head. Prepare to show off in front of Drought Jack and prove that you are stronger than Sip's head. Although Drought Jack on the side did not speak, his dissatisfaction with Sip's head could be seen from his expression. Bastard Gene Lammy, don't talk, I will deal with this kid. Sip's head felt that he had been humiliated, and his face was filled with anger. He threw the saber in his hand aside, and his arms suddenly transformed into a sheep's horn, with a dark arm domineering covering the sheep's horn. Attacked ye you again. Go to hell, kid, giant ram's horns. Sip's head roared angrily, venting all his frustration on Yi Yu. A special attack mixed with armed colors came to Yi Yu in an instant. Boom! Within 1 meter of Yi Yu, he was still unable to move forward at all, but his arm was sore from the shock. Sip's head looked confused. How is it possible? Sweat dripped from Sip's head's forehead. This was the strongest blow with his armed color. The armed color and devil fruit ability couldn't break this boy's defense. Weak attack, you all come together, I'm in a hurry. Yi Yu smiled faintly and finally spoke. The surrounding pirates looked horrified and began to re-examine the boy in front of them. The more Gene Lamy looked at it, the more he felt that Yi Yu's figure looked familiar, as if he had just read reports about this boy. For a moment, Gene Lamy's red lips trembled, as if she remembered something. There is only one person on the marine warship. He is not wearing military uniform yet and looks like a salted fish. Gene Lamy widened his eyes. This kid is not marine. I remembered. He is the Zero Squadron Captain Yi Yu of the Whitebeard Pirates who annihilated the Blackbeard Pirates. It's unmistakable, I've seen his news reports. Kim Rami, who is usually responsible for the news affairs of the Jack Pirates, said in shock. Captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Drought Jack's eyes became even more murderous. The Beast's Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates have always been incompatible, and small frictions are constant. On this sea, there are nearly 100 small conflicts every year. Now, this kid is going to die. He just killed a Blackbeard, what's the big deal? Come together, kill him. Who do you think Lousy is? Lousy is Drought Jack. He's just the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Ironhead King Drought Jack roared, without any intention of taking Yi Yu seriously. The surrounding pirates received the order from Drought Jack and rushed towards Yi Yu. They no longer looked down upon Yi Yu as before and sent out the weapons in their hands. Sip's head strikes again, unleashing his giant ram's horns. Gene Lamy's eyes were solemn, and his gaze was fixed on Yi Yu. The color of weaponry filled the blade of his sword, and he aimed at Yi Yu's head and chopped it. Hold'em held his own machine knife, and the lion on his belly also showed its fangs and sprayed out lion fire. Hellflame knife. Hold'em's machine knife was mixed with flame effects and slashed directly at Yi Yu. Come on. Kill this brat. The pirates around him shouted, and swarmed around Yi Yu. The corners of Yi Yu's mouth raised slightly, they are just some trash fish, but they want to kill me. This is really a joke. Buzz. The majestic momentum, with Yi Yu as the center point, quickly spread to all directions. In an instant, this aura completely enveloped all the pirates on the entire warship. Conqueror's touch. With Yi Yu at the center, the originally weak aura instantly became extremely turbulent under Yi Yu's movement. Conquerors climbed steadily, flowing turbulently around like the sea. Cold sweat broke out on Drought Jack's forehead, and his face was full of surprise and shock. Is this boy's Conquerors? The legendary Conquerors. The Conquerors, which only Kaido deserves to possess, actually appears in a salted fish. Now Drought Jack, more or less, understands why this boy Yi Yu was able to completely annihilate the Blackbeard pirates. It seems that Yi Yu is not as weak as he appears. Buzz. Conquerors shocked the audience. The more than 500 pirates had a look of horror in their eyes, staring blankly at Yi Yu. There was no longer the contempt and ridicule before, replaced by a dull look on their faces. The entire warship was extremely silent, and there was no more noise than before. Plop. Plop. One by one, the pirates fell heavily on the deck, stirring up a burst of dust on the deck. In less than a second, all 500 pirates had fallen. Drought Jack's face was filled with shock. This time I went to Dressrosa to transport the artificial devil fruit from Smile Factory. In order to prevent other 4 emperors from snatching it, the people I brought were all the elites of the beast pirates, and there were even more mixed among them. There are many powerful givers. Unexpectedly, he was so vulnerable in front of the young man in front of him. Looking at the 3 real fighters standing there. Sip's head, Jinrami, hold 'em, keep attacking. Drought Jack roared, and at the same time, he took out the 2 shortle knives in his hand and prepared to attack. The 3 Sip's heads still stood motionless, and Drought Jack immediately became furious. "Hey," I said. Drought Jack patted Sip's head on the shoulder. Sip's head, who had been standing just now, instantly fell to the ground. How is it possible? Even the real ones on his own ship were knocked unconscious by conquerors. "Jinrami, hold 'em, speak." Drought Jack shouted. As soon as the words fell, Jinrami and Hold'em fell to the ground immediately, with dull expressions on their faces. At this point, the entire Drought Jack detachment was left with only 3 Disaster Jack as its polished commander. Drought Jack's eyes widened with disbelief. This is the first time that I have seen the conquerors powerful enough to knock someone with a bounty of over 100 million into unconsciousness. Sure enough, the strength of the 4 emperors pirate group is still good. It took me a full second of conquerors before they fell one after another. Yi Yu murmured. Although there are too many enemies when Conquerors is released this time, in order to increase the range of influence of Conquerors, the concentration and damage of Conquerors are reduced, but if it is a general pirate group's minions, they will still be stunned to death in an instant. This made Yi Yu start to admire. It's just, these words sounded particularly harsh to Drought Jack. This is the elite of the beast pirates that I have worked so hard to select. In order to cultivate this elite team of 500 people, I spent more than 10 years. Unexpectedly, in an instant, the team he had cultivated was all defeated by a boy named Conqueror's Black. Unwilling to do so, Jack roared at the sky. Asshole! Impossible! Boy, I can't spare you. Who do you think Lousy is? Lousy is a drought. The angry Jack lost his mind. Drought Jack's eyes were fixed on Yi Yu, and the shotel knife in his hand was raised high above his head. The dark armed color spread across the entire shotel blade. Go to hell. You brat. Unforgivable. As a swordsman, Drought Jack was proficient in swordsmanship and extremely fast. He held the shotel knife and slid it in a strange arc in the air. Mixed with the surrounding air, powerful sword intent rushed toward Yi Yu. Yi Yu showed a disdainful look. Are you kidding me? Jack, this idiot, after seeing his own abilities, still wants to defeat him with just one blow from his weapon. It's so ridiculous. Drought Jack is not generally confident in himself. Now Yi Yu finally understood why Drought Jack, a tough guy, dared to launch an attack with a warship in the Warring States period, Fujitora, and Crane. Drought Jack has no idea about the strength of his opponent. It can even be said that he has no judgment and is really a tough guy. With a clanging sound, the shotel knife with a jet-black armed color struck Yi Yu's Conqueror's protective shield, as if it had hit some steel city wall, making a sound of gold and iron colliding. However, Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield only fluctuated slightly, and then became as stable as a mountain. Drought Jack's dead eyes were round, the veins on his arms protruded, and the muscles all swelled. Impossible. Lousy is Drought Jack. After saying that, Jack increased the strength in his hands and used all his strength to suppress Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield. The hand holding the shortle knife kept moving. Trembling. The deck beneath his feet cracked due to Drought Jack's strength, and cracks spread all around. However, when Drought Jack used his strength, he only made his weapon advance a distance of 2 centimeters. Well, not bad, Jack, you still have some strength. Yi Yu showed an approving look at Drought Jack. Do you still have some strength? When Drought Jack heard these words, he felt as if someone had slapped him hard on the face, and it hurt so much. I tried my best to feed myself, my hands and feet were trembling, but in the end I only moved forward 2 centimeters. As a result, nothing happened to the boy in front of me. Can I give myself some strength? Isn't this blatant anti-sarcasm? Drought Jack gasped in anger and roared at Yi Yu, "Boy, don't be too arrogant. Lousy. Lousy is Drought Jack. Obviously, I had used too much strength just now, and now I feel a little unable to speak." Yi Yu became interested in the fool in front of him. Without the TV bug by his side, it would be nice to bask in the sun and tease Drought Jack. Thinking of this, Yi Yu showed his big white face and laughed unkindly, and lay down directly on the ground in front of Drought Jack. "Jack, if you have any means, feel free to use it, but let's get through it, just don't block the sun, just don't interfere with my sunbathing." Yi Yu said lightly, completely ignoring Jack who was suffering from drought. "What did you say? Boy. Lousy is." Jack's face turned pale with anger. Before he finished speaking, Yi Yu impatiently interrupted Drought Jack. "I know, aren't you Drought Jack? The great pirate with a bounty of up to 1 billion. But, there is a bounty of 900 million because of your ivory." Yi Yu lay on the deck with a smile on his face. At the beginning of the drought, Jack was relatively satisfied when he heard Yi Yu praising him for being a big pirate with a bounty of 1 billion, thinking to himself that this kid is quite knowledgeable. But, the last sentence is extremely insulting to Drought Jack. Is there a bounty of 900 million because of my ivory? I have also been ridiculed by countless enemies, but Yi Yu's words are the most hurtful to my heart. With bloodshot eyes in his eyes, Drought Jack's hands and feet trembled with anger, his face turned red, and he roared at the sky. "Asshole! Boy, I must kill you." After saying that, Drought Jack's body swelled up strangely, first his head, then his limbs, and finally his body, suddenly turning into a huge mammoth. With an elephant cry, the entire warship went deep into the sea due to the increased draft due to Drought Jack's transformation. You know. Jack instantly turned into a crazy mammoth, and his size expanded hundreds of times. Boom! 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 The mammoth stepped on the deck, making loud noises, and the entire warship swayed from side to side. The huge elephant trunk was thrown into the sky. For a moment, the dark-armed domineering force covered the trunk, and a huge momentum came over. The next moment, the jet-black elephant trunk with a military color was aimed at Yi Yu and struck hard. With the powerful power and speed, the surrounding space becomes illusory. A huge phantom appears. "You're blocking it, boy." Drought Jack roared angrily. The huge elephant trunk filled the entire sky, bigger than Yi Yu, and touched Yi Yu's Conqueror's rain cover again. Boom! The center point of the collision between the two directly generated strong wind pressure, instantly blowing away the surrounding pirates who were stunned by Conquerors. The next moment, a miserable elephant roar was heard, and a large amount of blood was scattered in the sky, as if it was raining blood. "I told you a long time ago, Jack, don't block me from the sun. Your elephant trunk blocks the sun above my head." Yi Yu lay on the deck, still looking calm. The huge body of the mammoth fell directly to the ground and rolled around randomly. It could be seen that the trunk of the giant elephant that had been wrapped in armor had been shattered to pieces by the impact of the blow. At this time, Drought Jack's heart was in turmoil. How is this possible? Jack's eyes opened to the limit, and they were bloodshot. After transforming into a mammoth, the power that I was already proud of will become several times stronger, and I will be equipped with high-purity armed domineering energy. With this blow, Jack believed that even with the Man of Steel, he could beat the target to pieces, but... In the final result, Yi Yu did not move at all, but his trunk containing the armed color was counterattacked by the force of the rebound. Now Jack only feels like an egg hitting a stone. Damn boy, what kind of ability do you have? Drought Jack asked in shock. Yi Yu smiled slightly. This is just a defensive shield formed by my conquerors. Yi Yu said calmly. This time, Drought Jack's head became even more messy. Conquerors? It's conquerors. The legendary conquerors can still be used in this way. Why does it feel like the invisible conquerors has an entity? It can actually be turned into a defensive shield to protect the surroundings, and its defensive power is stronger than the armor color. I have heard Lord Kaido say that a truly peerless strong man can use conquerors as a means of attack, wrapping it around his body or weapons to attack. Even if they only mobilize some conquerors for local entanglement, this control method has already blocked a large number of extremely talented people, and they will never be able to reach that height. But now, this kid can actually control a large number of conquerors at will and at every angle around his body. It's as airtight as a city wall. If this defensive shield is really conquerors, then this conqueror's control method is a level that even Lord Kaido has never reached. It's unimaginable to see this kid in front of me. The understanding of conquerors is actually higher than that of the world's strongest creature, his own master, the Four Emperors Kaido. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Drought Jack shook his head vigorously. The boy in front of him looks less than 20 years old. The growth of conquerors depends not only on talent, but also on Wang's determination and experience. The boy in front of me doesn't look like the kind of hero who owns conquerors. It must be some other ability. Damn boy, he was almost deceived. The simple-minded Drought Jack didn't believe what Yi Yu said at all. Boy, don't lie. Even if you are lucky enough to have conquerors, you still can't master the realm that even Kaido can't reach. Jack roared, and his body changed again. The huge mammoth's body gradually shrank, turning into a half-human, half-elephant figure. Boy, this is the strongest form of the animal devil fruit, half-animal transformation. Both strength and speed will reach the strongest state. Wake up. After saying that, Jack's body muscles surged. Although he was in human form, his body still retained many mammoth characteristics. The rich armed color was wrapped around his fists. He directly used the most primitive attack to hit Yi Yu hard. Down. The surrounding space seemed to be torn apart. Under the powerful momentum, the sea boiled. The Yi Yu warship kept shaking under the roar of the sea. There was an explosion sound. The entire marine warship shook even more. Under such a powerful attack, the ripples in Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield only spread slightly. Drought Jack's fist sank 5 centimeters into the defensive cover. When he tried to go deeper, he felt a mysterious and huge rebound force, making it difficult to move any further. Drought Jack was completely shocked. His attack completely exceeded his original strength. Even his master, Immortal Kaido, would be injured if he received this attack. But the kid in front of me. I didn't even break through his defense. Drought Jack is completely messed up. Yi Yu also slowly sat up. That's enough, Drought Jack, you've done your best. I'm in a hurry, so let's see you again. Yi Yu said, tilting his head. After saying that, a powerful force burst out from Yi Yu as the center towards the surroundings. Shinra Tenjing. With Yi Yu as the center, a powerful pressure instantly formed around him. The Shinra Tensei hasn't hit Drought Jack yet, but Jack has already sensed this terrifying power through sight, hearing, and color. It's the unique horror feeling of Conquerors. Is the first release just to clean up the trash fish? Compared with the previous ones, the Conquerors released this time are too powerful. No matter how stupid Jack was, he finally realized at this moment that Yi Yu had not deceived him. Yi Yu's Conqueror's control far surpassed that of Superman. Without giving Jack much time to think, the rich Conquerors burst out in an instant. Drought Jack, who was next to Yi Yu, was directly thrown away, with blood bleeding from the corner of his mouth, and he hit the deck heavily. At this time, flocks of birds passed by in the sky, pulling a mysterious bird house. Inside the bird house, a mysterious birdman is wearing a black top hat with a red and white feather on it, a light blue shirt, a yellow bow tie, and red and white plaid trousers, pointed the camera at the warship, opened his mouth wide, and his face was full of shock and excitement. This man is one of the emperors of the underground world, in charge of the news of the entire world, the president of the World Economic News Agency, known as Morgans of Big News. At this time, Morgans no longer had his usual calm expression. One of the three major signs of the Beast Pirates, Jack, known as Drought, was defeated in one round by Yi Yu. This is the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Yo-Yu. Sure enough, my bet was right. Yi Yu will definitely be a hotshot figure in the news industry in the future. Ha ha ha. Morgans laughed excitedly. It turned out that since Morgans obtained first-hand information about Yi Yu's annihilation of the Blackbeard Pirates, he had developed a strong interest in Yi Yu. Less than 20 years old, the super-powerful Conqueror's understanding, the mysterious Captain Zero, suddenly went to sea this time, and all kinds of information. With his keen sense of the news industry over the years, Morgans concluded that Yi Yu, this boy, would definitely make waves in the world in the future. Annihilating the Blackbeard Pirates is just the beginning. In the future, more exciting news will surely be unearthed from Yi Yu. So, after Morgans wrote overnight about Yi Yu's annihilation of the Blackbeard Pirates and published it around the world, he took his elite men and took a birdhouse pulled by birds and hot air balloons to find Yi Yu. Feather movements. The purpose is to continue writing a report about Yi Yu. My luck is so good. It only took 2 or 3 days to find Yi Yu's traces, and he also gave me this big breaking news. Ha ha ha. Morgans, who has always been calm, had a full face. Excited, a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. That's right, our luck is so good. Mr. President, I haven't accepted such an exciting news shooting for a long time. My hands are itchy. A middle-aged man also said excitedly. It was the former head of the photography department who joined the World Economic News after being fired by Marine, and became one of Morgan's right-hand men, the photo king Karitz, nicknamed the Flame Photographer. Karitz, did you capture the moment when Drought Jack was defeated? Morgans asked excitedly. Don't worry, President Morgans, we have been working together for so many years, don't you still believe in my technical level? Kurei's patted his chest and said confidently. Kurei's captured Yi Yu's relaxed expression, Drought Jack's embarrassed look, and his momentary release of powerful energy, all of which were captured by Kurei's. After hearing Karitz's answer, Morgan showed an excited expression. Okay. The news cover this time is selected from the photos you just took. Let's continue shooting and don't miss the important close-ups. Morgan's excitement was palpable and he said with a face filled with relief. If this news is well packaged, it is conservatively estimated that it can bring a total revenue of 5 billion Baileys to your news agency. After saying that, Morgans and his elite team once again pointed their respective cameras at Yi Yu, filming the final closing moments. Everyone is curious, what will happen to the arrogant Drought Jack? Unlike the Blackbeard Pirates, Drought Jack is backed by a powerful figure, the 4 emperors who dominate this sea, Kaido of the Beasts. Kaido, the strongest creature in the world who claims to be unkillable. A figure on the same level as Whitebeard, the captain of Yi Yu. If Yi Yu rashly kills Drought Jack at such a critical moment, it will most likely trigger a war between the Beast's pirates and the Whitebeard pirates. At this time, it is not good news for those who are planning to rescue the Ace Whitebeard pirates from the Marine headquarters. Within the camera, Yi Yu slowly came to Drought Jack and looked down at him. At this time, Drought Jack fell to the ground and lost his fighting ability, like a bereaved dog. "Jack, you are so stupid to risk your life for a few broken artificial devil fruits." There was a trace of ridicule on the corner of Yi Yu's mouth. Drought Jack is known as the Tu Tai Wa and the King of Ships. It seems that this name is not for nothing. When he saw the ship, he wanted to approach it and attack him. If he encountered him, it would be unlucky for Jack. For a violent and stupid guy like Drought Jack, Yi Yu had no plans to show mercy. Jack's eyes widened. "Boy, even though you won, you can't kill me." "Oh. Tell me." Yi Yu smiled faintly, but he wanted to hear what this idiot Jack would say to save his life before he died. "Boy, do you know that there are many conflicts between the four emperors? There is a small friction almost every day, but it has not developed into a large-scale war. That is, there is an unwritten rule among the four emperors on this sea. Unless absolutely necessary, core members of the opposing camp cannot be killed. Once this red line is crossed, it means the coming of war." Yi Yu narrowed his eyes, and Drought Jack became even more arrogant when he saw Yi Yu stopped attacking. Because of the Ace incident, among all the four emperors groups, the one that least wants to start a war with other four emperors groups is your Whitebeard Pirates group. "So, you can't kill me at all. Killing lousy Drought Jack will cost the lives of your entire Whitebeard pirates." Ha 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 ha. Drought Jack's head became arrogant again and laughed wildly at Yi Yu. The World Economic News Agency located above the battle site also noticed the abnormality on Yi Yu's side and showed a strange look. "That guy Drought Jack seems to be laughing wildly. Yi Yu has not taken action for a long time. Doesn't Yi Yu dare not kill him?" Kurei's also asked Morgans. On top of the birdhouse pulled by a hot air balloon in the sky, Morgans looked serious. "Killing Drought Jack, that means the coming of the war between the two emperors. It is reasonable for Yi Yu to refuse to take action. It's just that this is a bit too boring, and the value of this news will be greatly reduced," Morgan said sadly, shaking his head. While Morgans was shaking his head helplessly, showing a disappointed expression, Koritz, holding a telescope on the side, suddenly widened his eyes with excitement on his face, and the corners of his mouth trembled. Yi Yu, it's time to take action." "Are you taking action?" Morgans, who had a regretful expression just now, suddenly became interested again after hearing this, and hurriedly pointed the camera at Yi Yu with a look of anticipation on his face. "On the battlefield." "Oh, you should have finished speaking, right? If you don't have any last words, I will take action." Yi Yu looked at Jack and said calmly. The title of four emperors is not easy for Yi Yu to use. As for Kaido, who is known as the strongest creature in the world, Yi Yu is completely incompetent. If he has the ability, let him come. The only thing Yi Yu is worried about is that there will be some trouble. Then he will have to deal with Kaido himself. What did you say?" Drought Jack couldn't believe his ears, his eyes were fixed on Yi Yu, and he asked in disbelief. "Did you not understand what I meant? Do you want to cause a war? Do you want Kaido of all beasts to kill you, boy?" Drought Jack continued to remind. But Yi Yu, who was on the side, took out his own ears with his hands, looking unconcerned. "You talk too much, Jack. Kaido of the beasts, if you dare to come, just let him come. I don't mind if there is one less four emperors in this world." Yi Yu remained expressionless, and when he heard Kaido's name as four emperors, there was no trace of emotion on his face. Buzz. Drought Jack only felt his brain buzzing. "Don't mind one less four emperors in this world. You must know that your boss is Kaido, who has abnormal defense power. He once single-handedly challenged other pirates, 4 emperors and the Marine headquarters, and was arrested 18 times. Although he died in various ways, it was of no avail. Instead, 9 huge prison ships were sunk by Kaido the Beast. He has been defeated 7 times in his life, but no one has been able to kill him, Kaido, the strongest creature in the world. The kid in front of me actually said in such an understatement that he wanted his boss to disappear from this world. What a joke. It seems that the boy in front of me still doesn't understand the fear of the 4 emperors. Even if you are the captain of Division 0, you still have to surrender when facing monsters on the level of 4 emperors. Boy, you are too arrogant. Boss Kaido will never let you go. Kill me and you will wait for Kaido's endless anger. Drought Jack still roared loudly. Until death, still threatening myself. The corner of Yi Yu's mouth showed a disdainful arc, and the conquerors in his body emerged in the sky. Under his own imagination, the conquerors in the sky condensed into the shape of a chantel knife. Drought Jack's dead eyes widened, his mouth opened wide, his face full of astonishment. Conquerors turned into a weapon. And it can be caught with just the naked eye. Open up your own sense of knowledge and perception, you can't go wrong, the chantel knife in the sky is made of conquerors. Conquerors turned into a chantel knife just by relying on imagination. This boy's conquerors is so powerful. Morgans above the sky, through the camera, naturally captured the chantel knife in the sky. Morgan's eyes were filled with shock. What kind of weird ability is that? Koritz also looked excited. Let me tell you, President Morgans, do you think this boy's conquerors? After hearing this, Morgans was shocked again. Conquerors? According to the previous report of Yi Yu annihilating the Blackbeard pirates, this boy Yi Yu is indeed a master of using conquerors. However, conquerors transforms into the appearance of a weapon, and can be observed with the naked eye without using any sense of sight. Such a rich conquerors can be formed. Morgan's eyes were shocked and he squinted. It's really hard to say. Brothers, shoot the whole process and don't miss any detail. In the later stage, professionals will definitely be able to analyze the attack methods used by this kid. Yes. Lord Morgans, said the news workers around him. It can be seen that everyone is very motivated. After this explosive news is successfully published, it is conservatively estimated that the bonus shared by each person will be nearly 100 million Baileys. Boom! Without giving Drought Jack a reaction, the chantel knife formed from conquerors in the sky was directly directed at Drought Jack's head and chopped it off hard. A sharp slash slid down from the sky. Before the attack could reach him, a powerful aura, like the roar of the sea, had already rushed towards him. Drought Jack, who was lying dying on the deck, only locked his eyes on the blow above his head, his eyes widened with horror on his face. Drought Jack used his last bit of strength to activate his own armor for defense. The corners of his mouth trembled slightly. Are you kidding me? Is the momentum alone so powerful? What a powerful attack! The Conqueror's condensed chantel knife continued to enlarge in Drought Jack's pupils, and reached Drought Jack's head in an instant. The armed-colored head was as soft as tofu under Yi Yu's Conqueror's slash. In an instant, a head with a metal jaw flew up, and blood sprayed in the air. If you look carefully, you will find that the expression of this head is still frozen in that frightened moment. After Drought Jack's head rolled around on the deck, it finally fell into the sea, was swallowed by the sea in an instant, and disappeared without a trace. Drought Jack, who was once one of the 3 major poster boards of the 4 Emperors Kaido pirates, with a bounty of up to 1 billion, and no grass growing anywhere he went, has come to an end. The sea breeze blew wantonly, and the entire sea began to boil and surge, and the waves kept beating against Yi Yu's warship. It seemed as if the entire warship began to tremble. Morgans, who was sitting on the warship, had a look of shock on his face and stood there blankly. Within the entire bird house, the air seemed to be frozen, and the atmosphere was extremely silent. For a long time, President Morgan's lips trembled. Dead, the the drought that no one dares to provoke in the New World, was actually beheaded by Yi Yu. Morgans had an unbelievable expression on his face. Yi Yu. Captain Zero of the Whitebeard Pirates actually killed Drought Jack of the Beast Pirates. Kurai's also had a look of shock and surprise on his face. No. That's right, Drought Jack, the Drought Jack who was so tyrannical in the New World, is dead, even his head fell into the sea. He will definitely die. Morgan said without saying anything. Click. Click. Kuritz, as if he realized something, hurriedly took out his camera and took a series of photos below. Morgans also took out the camera and took a close-up. In the close-up, Yi Yu still looked like a carefree fish, and there was no trace of any emotional upheaval after killing the drought. Ha ha ha. Yi Yu is a really interesting character. Now I finally understand why Yi Yu awakened Conquerors. After killing an opponent of Drought Jack's level, there was no trace of emotion on his face. What a strong heart. Morgan said enthusiastically. Kurai's on the side was also full of excitement. Boss Morgans, our news this time must be worth 5 billion Baileys, right? Morgans flapped his wings several times. More than 5 billion, Drought, the core subordinate of the four emperors, has the same existence as Kaido's family. This is the fuse that will trigger a battle between Kaido and Whitebeard, two peerless heroes. The value of this news is conservatively estimated at 10 billion. After the article is published, all the machines will be started for printing. After printing, I will continue to distribute this news for a month, so I don't have to worry about no buyers. Morgan's eyes showed a bright look. Light. At this time, Yi Yu, who was sitting on the deck of the warship, looked around. The elites of the Drought Jack pirates were lying unconscious on the deck of the warship one by one. The sea breeze on the sea became stronger and stronger, and Yi Yu stretched out. It's really troublesome. I originally went to the Sabaody Islands because I didn't want to conflict with Jack, but this tough guy just wouldn't listen. Oh, now I have to clean the battlefield. It seems that it is necessary to recruit a follower for myself, otherwise it would be too much trouble for me to clean the battlefield myself. After complaining, Yi Yu directly released a large Conquerors, and the air began to stir. The surrounding pirates were directly blown off the deck by the strong wind caused by Conquerors. Plop, plop. It sank into the sea. After finishing his work, Yi Yu clapped his hands. Well, it's much cleaner now. Noticing that the sea breeze was getting stronger, Yi Yu walked directly into the dormitory, took out the food and wine provided by Doflamingo from the dormitory, and began to enjoy it. Alas, this is life, Yi Yu said with emotion, holding a large ham in his hand. If Jack hadn't caused trouble by himself, Yi Yu wouldn't have provoked Jack due to his character. However, that does not mean that Yi Yu is afraid of trouble. If anyone dares to provoke him, Yi Yu can guarantee that the other party will die ugly. Drought Jack is a perfect example. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing Drought Jack, you will be rewarded with Conqueror's 200 points, and your Rockberry Fruit development ability will be upgraded to advanced level. While enjoying life, the system's pleasant voice sounded. Now my Conqueror's points are over 5,800. And my Rockberry Fruiting ability has actually been strengthened. It seems that although this guy Jack looks stupid, he has a lot of rewards. Speaking of Rockberries, Yi Yu has to think of one person, and that is Akaina Sakazuki. The hawkish general of Marine is a guy who shows no mercy to his enemies or his own people. In the original anime, he relied on his fruit advantage to directly penetrate and kill Fire Fist Ace. It can be said that in One Piece, besides Blackbeard, he is one of the characters that Yi Yu wants to kill the most. According to the system description, the fruit ability development levels are divided into low-level, intermediate, advanced, and extreme. I don't know what level of ability this guy Sakazuki has in using devil fruits. System, can I ask, What is the level of this guy Sakaski's rock berry practical ability according to the system level? Yi Yu rubbed his hands and asked expectantly. Ding, Sakaski, the rockberry fruit development level is intermediate. The pleasant sound of the system sounded. Yi Yu was immediately shocked. Sakaski's ability to develop rock berries is not weak. This can be seen from the damage caused to Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world, during the Overhead War, especially Sakaski in the comics, who used Dark Hound to directly penetrate half of Whitebeard's face. Such a terrifying level of development, in the eyes of the system, is only intermediate. The system is really awesome. My own level is actually one level higher than Sakaski's fruit development level. You can imagine how wonderful Akainu's expression would be if he met Sakaski and used his rock berry ability to surpass Akainu. Yi Yu didn't know that because he was reporting in real time from Morgan's this time, the news that Yi Yu beheaded Drought Jack was quickly sent to all over the world. This time Yi Yu brought a greater shock to the world than the annihilation of the Blackbeard pirates. Although Blackbeard is very powerful, his popularity is far less than that of Drought Jack. That's one of the flag bearers of the Four Emperors pirate group, Jack, who is suffering from a severe drought wherever he goes. The big pirate who earns a bounty of up to 1 billion bellies alone. The whole world's discussion surrounding Yi Yu has been going on. New World, above the Ghost Island, the sky is covered with dark clouds. For Emperor Kaido's face was full of rage, and the minions around him lowered their heads in fear, their fingers shaking in fear. The entire ground was littered with jars of wine that Kaido drank from, swaying here and there. This time was the most productive time for Smile Factory to produce artificial devil fruits. In order to prevent other four emperors from intercepting them, Kaido specially sent Drought Jack there. Normally, Jack should report the situation to himself every hour, but now Kaido has completely lost contact with the mammoth. This gave Kaido some bad premonitions and made him feel inexplicably irritable. That bastard Jack, haven't you contacted him yet? Kaido asked his intelligence soldier with a drunken mouth. An animal-type devil fruit user with antlers on his head had a face full of horror, and the corners of his mouth trembled. Report to Lord Kaido, and keep in touch with Lord Jack. Once contacted, he will report it to you as soon as possible. Kaido had an evil look on his face, smashed the large wine jar in his hand to pieces, and cursed, "You are really a bunch of losers. Find out about Drought Jack quickly." The intelligence officer on the side was already trembling with fear. Yes, Lord Kaido, I will go find the whereabouts of Lord Jack right away." At this time, an intelligence officer walked out of the door again, holding a newspaper just printed by the World Economic News Agency in his hand, and came to Kaido with difficulty. Report to Lord Kaido, there is news about Lord Jack." A grantor with bat wings on his body murmured. "Oh. Say it quickly." After hearing Jack's news, Kaido hurriedly urged. This. The Batman hesitated, standing there holding the newspaper and not daring to speak. With nothing to lose. "Lousy, come and see for yourself." An angry Kaido stretched out his big hand and snatched the newspaper from the Batman's hand. On the front of the newspaper, there is a photo. Drought Jack's head is missing, and fresh blood can be seen from the side. It is the newspaper published by the King of Underground News in this world, with the logo of the World Economic News Agency. The events edited by Morgans himself may be exaggerated, but the basic reality is correct. Kaido's hands holding the newspaper began to tremble, veins popped up on his forehead, and anger rose in his eyes, and he roared at the roof of the Ghost Island above his head. "Jack is dead. Bastard. How is this possible?" The veins on Kaido's body protruded, and the muscles all over his body swelled. The entire Ghost Island trembled violently because of Kaido's roar. The little guys on the side heard Master Kaido personally tell the news of Drought Jack's death. Each one of them also widened their eyes and stood there blankly, with a look of extreme shock in their eyes. Drought Jack. Drought, one of the three major billboards, a rough-skinned and fleshy man, was actually killed. Who on earth has this ability? Can he kill Drought Jack, who mainly attacks defense power and has a bounty of up to 1 billion, with his own hands? Could it be, that the four emperors took matters into their own hands? After seeing the news of Jack's death, the furious Kaido sobered up and took out the mace placed aside. He was full of ferocity. The thunder and lightning in the sky became more dense, and the thunder rolled, boom, boom, boom. Heavy rain poured down from the sky above Ghost Island in an instant. Ugh! Jack! You idiot! I haven't become One Piece yet, how could you die? The angry Kaido swept the mace around him. Thunder! Ming! Ba! Gua! A stream of purple lightning struck Kaido's mace, carrying the power of lightning and sweeping across all directions instantly. The surrounding minions looked horrified, and all of them were so frightened that their legs and feet were weak. The Batman fell to the ground in fright, looking at Kaido the Beast, his face dull, and the corners of his mouth trembled as he murmured, Lord Kaido is angry. Help! I don't want to die. The pirates around him were also howling like ghosts. Lord Kaido has always had a bad temper and was always cruel to his men. Such a big thing happened this time, why don't we kill them? They were all so scared that they were ready to flee from here. But, how could these guys be faster than Thunder 8 trigrams? Almost in an instant, Kaido's thunderous 8 trigrams swept across the surroundings. In the Onigashima haunted mansion, there were strong winds, lightning and thunder, bringing an extremely powerful aura. The pirates around him were swallowed up by this momentum before they even touched Kaido's mace, and fell to the ground one by one, not knowing whether they were alive or dead. Whitebeard pirates. You. Lousy will not be a human until I kill you. The angry Kaido had not yet calmed down. He shouted, and his body suddenly expanded, transforming into a green dragon several hundred feet long. He let out a dragon roar and soared into the air. The weather became even worse, even affecting the entire country of Wano, with lightning and thunder everywhere. The people of Wano country felt the aura of terror and looked up in the direction of Onigashima. A huge creature soared in the sky. Isn't it the four emperors, Kaido of the Beasts, whom everyone is afraid of and who colludes with the big snake? Every time Kaido got drunk before, he turned Wano country upside down, and many people even paid the price for it. The dragon is coming. The dragon is coming. Everyone, run away. The streets of Wano country became chaotic, all the shops were closed, and groups of people were running away in panic. Roar! The giant dragon in the sky roared. Jin, Quinn, Jack has been killed. Come to Ghost Island for a meeting right away. We are going to attack the Whitebeard pirates. The giant dragon in the sky made a human voice, and the voice spread throughout the sky. At this time, Quinn who was in the quarry and Jin who was patrolling in the sky heard Kaido's voice and looked at him in great surprise. Drought Jack died. Although their younger brother is not very strong, in terms of defense alone, he is even stronger than them. Who dares to kill Drought Jack? Isn't this just a slap in the face of the Beast's pirates? Without thinking too much, Yen Calamity Jean and Epidemic Quinn, with murderous intent rising in their eyes, turned into pterosaurs and brachiosauruses and ran towards the Ghost Island. On the Cake Island, Perispero came to the ant with a lollipop cane. Report to Mother, Morgans gave us the first-hand information that Drought Jack was killed by Captain Zero of the Whitebeard pirates. Perispero said respectfully to his mother. When the ant heard this, her fat cheeks started to laugh. Mum, if that kid Kaido knew this news, he would definitely be very angry, ha 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 ha. As for emperors, it is very embarrassing for one of the flag bearers of your team to be killed by a hostile force. According to intelligence, as Morgan's news said, Jack was killed instantly. Perispero continued. After the ant laughed, her expression became slightly serious. She chewed the cream cake in her mouth and began to think. Instantly kill Drought Jack. Even the combat power of the Royal Lieutenant level, such as Katakuri, may not be guaranteed to kill Drought Jack instantly. This kid, seems to be stronger than he expected. After thinking about it again, the title captain of Division 0. Amazing boy, could it be that, this boy is the #1 person with Emperor-level strength? This boy named Yu really surprised me. Although that boy Drought Jack's combat ability is not very good to me, the 1 billion bounty is real. Auntie's eyes flashed. Point said. I remember asking you to bring this kid here, how did things go? Big Mom thought of what happened before and said to Perispero. Perispero wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and complained in his heart. It seemed that his mother still remembered this incident, but his face was very respectful. Tell mother, I have sent Pakmas to win over Yu. Well. Big Mom put down the cake in her hand, held her plump face and thought for a while. Pakmas' level is not high enough, please let him come back. I will send Katakuri to go there in person. Auntie ordered with serious eyes. Everyone around was shocked. Auntie had given that little brat Yu enough face. Katakuri is second only to Big Mom in the Big Mom Pirates, and is also the owner of Conquerors. In terms of knowledge, and understanding, Katakuri is even better than Big Mom. For such a powerful Katakuri to invite Yu, this is already the highest level of treatment standard given to Yu by the Big Mom Pirates. Perispero was secretly happy in his heart. He couldn't complete this kind of work himself, so it would be best to leave it to Katakuri's younger brother. So under Auntie's order, Perispero left Auntie's room and invited Katakuri in. Fall. Katakuri came to the ant with big steps. Unlike other brothers and sisters who were afraid of the ant, Katakuri actually felt calm when facing the ant. After receiving the order from the ant, Katakuri's lips under the scarf showed an arc. Interesting, I'm quite interested in such a boy. I'm going to invite this boy named Yu. After Katakuri received the order, without saying a word, he immediately set off to find Yu with his big steps on his arm. Feather.